Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Sunday Night Fights. We are back. Hey, Awesomeness in a Bun, Static, Quasi, Game for Frame, Hosepud. What's up, everyone? Thanks for checking out the stream. We've got one game going on right now. This is from the new Masters Round Robin, featuring Mitch as the wild card who won the previous Warrior Round Robin. We might get some more games later on. I'm not sure this is the only one we have so far, but yeah, hopefully we get more people in the dojo playing. Hey, Orcito86, good to see you. But it's been a crazy week, and we like using the show as a way to update the folks as to what's going on with Chess Dojo and what's happening in the future.
And ourselves as well.
And ourselves, that's true.
Yeah.
Hey, Sombrero. I know Sombrero, actually, he's waiting to join the new round robins. You are on there. I just sent a list of 2 new groups to our our main tournament director, W. Melidi. Why must I lose to this idiot, aka Matt? And Sombrero, you are on there, so you'll be in one of the new groups that hopefully starts by next Sunday. So next Sunday we might have a lot more games during the show.
Right, and already kind of a mild disappointment that we don't have more now. With we have 2 tournaments going on with the Masters and the Warrior group, and right now we just have Mitch playing Hacker 29, and other people playing at different times.
Yeah, I think I got to be firmer with the Masters group, because technically they are kind of like, the idea was for them to play on Sundays once a week, like 1 round per week. But we have to keep it flexible because, of course, life can get in the way, and if people need to reschedule, then they need to reschedule, and that's just part of what it's like now to run a tournament like in a Discord. But yeah, hopefully people can find the time to play on Sundays, because I do really like doing the show. It's been a very fun show where it's like a weekly commentary thing. Reminds me of, they do these streams at casinos where they just show average poker nights with not the pros playing, but maybe some semi-pros, some amateur players, and it's different characters every week, but a lot of the same people kind of show up again and again. And yeah, we get used to the players. I feel like we've gotten to know Mitch over the course of these last few weeks watching his games.
They're right.
Hacker is new. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, are you a poker player?
I wouldn't say that. I know how to play, and I like watching it. But if, I don't even know if online poker is available right now, but if it was, I probably wouldn't be playing. I do wish that I was a 2400 level poker player instead of chess, because I feel like that would have been a lot more profitable.
That would have been boring. That would have been boring. Not really interesting. Let's go to the analysis board and let's talk through what happened with Mitch. It looks bad for Mitch, and I think mildly instructive. So Mitch, of course, plays the most aggressive lines against everything, and this H4 is, of course, kind of a hot button move.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's more than one move here, but I'm also sure that Bishop E3, even though it doesn't feel completely right to me, I'm sure it's theory because Mitch is playing it. Okay, so here we go.
Yeah, definitely.
And so far, I would say I like white, but then the situation is going to go downhill very quickly here. In fact, in the next 5 moves, white's going to go from a dynamic position to at least worse. So watch what he does. He plays C3, Bishop E7, and now I can't tell if the next move is a blunder or what, but with Knight B3 he allows Queen A6, and now 4 of 4s. He says to himself, I'd rather trade queens than give up this H pawn. And honestly, maybe he should have given up the H pawn, because this position that results here, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, Lucy, but to me, this is like, well, this is the French dream. There's no mincing words here. This is the French dream at the moment.
Definitely. Yeah.
What we've got here.
Just looks like perfect French, absolutely. Endgame, yeah, traded off the bishop. Knight on f5, h5. I mean, maybe white is like, I don't know if white is in huge trouble here. I would definitely think about like bishop g5 here, for instance, like first and foremost, just to try to trade these bishops. But yeah, I think I take black here all the time. But this has always been a weird line to me, because it does feel like when white plays bishop d3, it's definitely a really sharp move, but it like, yeah, immediately takes on this huge strategic risk. I don't know where he might have slipped up. I don't even know if knight d2 is the move. Maybe bishop d2 is the move here.
Let's go ahead and say knight d2 is correct. It's okay. Let's pretend that knight f3 is correct. Let's pretend that castles is correct. Mm-hmm. Here, it begins to feel wobbly. So my sense of this position is very basic, that white has to do, like, okay, let me put it this way. I think I have a philosophy of this position. Maybe I'll make a YouTube video someday. We're waiting for black to commit with c5. The second he commits to c5, we have to be ready to rip him apart. Like, rip him apart. But until he plays c5, he just has less space. And so black is going to be the one to make that call. But we have to be aggressive. And moves like c3, I don't think are correct. But even after c3, I want to say that if white had just played g3 and maintained his space advantage, he still has, I think, a very interesting play is happening. We're going to play b4 at some point, you know. But this move, knight b3, then we're worse. Unless we sack the pawn. And honestly, even though I think black should just be able to take the thing, I think we want to sack the pawn rather than go into that. I think. I don't know how you feel about it, Kosin, but I think I would want to sack the pawn.
I mean, at this point, I mean, personally, I'm probably with you, because I don't know if I should admit this, but I don't like playing endgames where I'm just like slightly worse. I just really don't like that. Yeah, I'd rather play a dynamic position where I'm much worse.
Absolutely, and after that, when we take there, like, the black king is never going to be totally safe. We're going to do things like b4 and think about f4. You know, well, yeah, the computer will probably despise us, but it doesn't mean we don't have good practical chances.
Yeah, honestly, like, one of the most instructive things for me when I was working with Akobian was we would take moments from my games where I would miss something like this. Yeah, like, I'd be afraid to sacrifice a pawn, or I wouldn't see some kind of like initiative. And then, yeah, we had a lot of analysis where basically, like, he would just show me, like, okay, your position is bad, but let's say you just sack the exchange here. Like, how are you going to beat me? And then I'd never be able to beat him, right? Because he would always just get counterplay, and then, of course, he outplays me. But the point is, like, he was kind of showing me how to create counter chances.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
could be like this. Yeah.
And I think another way of expressing it, kind of the flip side, is the person who takes on a6 is the one who says, oh, my position is, I have to do it because otherwise I lose the pawn. But you just developed a piece, and now with this dream French, you are suffering worse than, conceivably at least, worse than being down just a simple pawn. Like, it's going to be a hard road. You got a bad bishop, the c5 thing is coming, and it's not lost. I mean, we'll get into it. In fact, it's kind of an interesting decision how white should play this now, but it is definitely pure suffering. There's no other way of saying it.
Yeah. Okay, a couple interesting comments. So Bubba says that Mitch was studying knight d2 today on stream. So Mitch was like streaming earlier and had this on his board. Okay, so that's interesting. So It means
Well, and I did know. I knew that this guy, he's booked up enough that he's going to have studied like this bishop d3 stuff and yada yada, which is, let's just say, anti-intuitive to be playing bishop d3. It's probably a computer came up with it, probably strong GMs have played it, but it's a funny looking move.
Yeah, it definitely runs counter to just a lot of like fundamental, like just very basic principles, like not trading off black's bad bishop, basically. As simple as that sounds. So then there was a question, well, so what would be the plan if black does not take on h4 in that line? So I guess our idea here is that with queens on the board, white can definitely put a lot of pressure on black, because since black has played h5, it's not that easy for them to just have a safe king, and then if they don't challenge the space advantage, then white is going to be kind of just better. With queens off the board, then king safety is like hardly an issue for black, and he has just a lot more freedom to do whatever he wants to, like on the queen side. And yeah, queens were traded off at this moment because white played knight b3, black played queen a6, and now queen was hanging and pawn on h4 was hanging, so white basically has to either trade queens and defend the pawn, or move the queen away and leave the pawn hanging. But if black doesn't take on h4, then I think we're still totally fine here. White would go g3.
Exactly. And we're going to use the g5 pawn.
Yeah.
By the way, so things have progressed. I want to say I'm not totally happy with the way Hacker played this thing. So he played with bishop g5 here.
Mm-hmm.
And to my reaction here, you play f6 instantly. You don't even think about it. You're playing f6, buddy. Of course you're playing f6. What are we talking about? In fact, I'm going to say bishop d5 was a mistake because f6 gains a clean tempo.
Wow.
Yeah, of course you're playing f6.
I mean, so from my point of view, I like bishop g5. I just feel like if we don't play bishop g5, we're just kind of passively defending. At least here, if black goes f6, we have some target on the e-file.
Do you, though? Because my king is going to be active, and it's going to go to either f7 or d7. And you're not touching e6. You really aren't. You're not even coming close.
Maybe it's more of like a placebo thing, but I just feel better with a semi-open file as white.
Uh-huh.
At least I have something to do. Rook e1, rook e2,
And in fact, we look at it before bishop e5. You just think about black's position. At some point, I might want to play f6 just so I deny and dominate the knight on f3. Because in this position, I don't. Well, right. I'm also keeping your knight on f3 when I play f6 kind of in check, because you don't want to move away from e5, and you can't really crack me on my f6 square. So, yeah, I feel like that was a key mistake after rook c8. Now, arguably, well, okay, the narrative for black could be to say, look, I don't like it that you're taking my bishop, but you are fixing my king, and I'm still absolutely beautiful. I'm wondering about it. Like that, it just feels less. The advantage feels less clear to me. But maybe it is true that when you take on e7, you give black a free development with king takes e7. That much is true.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Kraka Badugi. Welcome, Deshaun. So, yeah, basically every Sunday we have these, essentially they're training games, but they're like training games with a purpose, with a plot, because these players are part of a round robin. We've got a score. Actually, I'm going to pull up the standings real quick so we can see. Yeah. All the games from the first week are done. And, I need to fix the video here real quick. One sec, guys. There we go. And, yeah, we had Mike and Strong Chess Looks like Ritos, who won last week.
Got some questions about this bishop g5 f6 thing. I think people are on board with me. This is an error. It's an error to allow the exchange of bishops. It's an issue. Okay, rook c1. Oh, that's a weird move from Mitch. Very strange move. Yeah.
Rook ac1.
Yeah. So, okay, let me, maybe Kostya. Oh, all right, Kostya, if you're ready to debate me, here we're going to go. I'm going to say bishop e7, king e7, dc, knight c5, and I'm going to put a rook on d1, mostly so that you can't oppose me. And I'm going to say I'm not lost. And maybe I'm not even that bad.
You said rook a d1, right?
It's rook a d1. Oh, am I on the wrong screen? I'm sorry. Hold on.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was actually... No, I was playing it on the game board, just...
No, it's good. No, I should do it on the analysis.
Sure.
Analysis.
Yeah.
That's a common mistake. So you get rook ad1. I just want to prevent knight d3. I don't think... Yeah. I think I'm alive as white.
Well, yeah, white is always alive. I just feel like, I don't know, I play the French, you play the French. To me, I just feel like when you get this in the French, it's like, okay, now the game begins. Like, just,
okay, but let's just try it for a second. So after bishop g5, I'll be black, you can be white. f6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're gonna take. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Sonny, I played the French all the way up to basically 2200 plus. And then I was kind of stuck for a little while and switched over to playing e4, e5.
Okay, no fear. Yes, no fear. No fear at all.
I'm trying to play in the style of the old masters who would lose instructive games.
Okay.
Like, I just feel like, whenever we have a debate, I feel like I try to take the chat's perspective, like the beginner, like kind of superficial understanding of chess perspective, You should try to trade off bad pieces, don't make weaknesses, don't double your pawns, like very typical. And then if you win the analysis session, then it kind of like shows people in an instructive way, I feel like what you're going for. Okay, yeah, that's kind of annoying. Okay, let's say I played a3, for example.
Okay, a3.
like a3.
Good move. And it's
c8, yeah, we'll go here. Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I mean, I think black is clearly better.
Well, that's what I mean. So in this position, you're clearly better. And then in the one that could have arisen in the game with this one, it's like white is fine. And it has to do with bishop. Good bishop or bad bishop. That's the exchange that black allowed when he didn't play f6. And I also want to say that if I'm white in this position, and I play and get at cf6, I definitely don't want to take. I want to leave the tension like that. I think that's important. Because in the game, little game we had, I was able to play c takes that you could not take back with the knight, and now I am going to be able at least to take back with the knight. See what I mean? Because the other one I had the e5 so you would take.
Yeah, I mean, in the other line, I guess white had the option to trade one pair of knights, but then you're saying black would just go knight takes d4, and then we'd have to take back with the pawn anyway.
I'm just saying, like, this makes it much okay when we get this position,
Yeah.
and then this is much cleaner, right? Because now you kind of have to take back. You have to take back with the pawn. You can take back with one knight,
Right.
you know, but you're gonna have to take back with the pawn, and I'm gonna get better king, better pawn structure, the whole business. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think black would have more here. Like, I would feel better about my winning chances in this position. But I do think that black is also better in this position. Maybe not as much, but like, to me, I feel like black is the one that's trying to grind this out.
Okay, but why? Maybe you're right, but
Oh,
why?
why do I? Well, I think like the play on the c file is nice. Like, we can get a minority attack with a6 b5. Maybe it's just like total French bias, but I just feel like this knight on f5 is just like such a strong piece in these positions. And I mean, white can always trade off one pair of knights, but then I kind of like the knight on e4 more than the knight on d4 because it kind of supports like b5, b4. Yeah, okay. We have the c4 square because it's hard for white to play b3. And then one day we can always play f6 and try to get like the central pawn mass going.
Right. No, I think at some point you got.
But I hear what you're saying.
Point,
I mean,
black should at this point, especially when its king's good, he should be playing f6. So when white played bishop g5 earlier, it was like a clear invitation to play f6. Yeah. So, anyways, it looks like let's see what's happening.
Right, I'll put you guys on the live board here. So live board is bishop g5 happened, rook c8, go ahead, take my bishop, rook a c1, no, after you, and then black goes, okay, bishop takes g5, knight takes g5. I guess hg would be a thought, but it allows like h4 for black whenever they want to, so kind of risky. I don't know, maybe possible. Definitely much more possible if white's rook was already on h1. But he goes knight takes g5, king e7, and so this is the live position. I mean, I still think black is comfortable here. I would expect maybe rook fe1 here from white to like stop f6, but that might run into like some cd knight b4 stuff, so maybe a little bit risky.
Yeah, well, okay, it's pretty bizarre. Lots of strange things happening. Okay, bishop, I'm at the live board here. Now, first question, I mean, let's see how long Mitch took on this. He played knight takes g5 very quickly, but I have a question. Would you play knight takes g5 quickly? I'm not sure about that.
No, I definitely think HG is a thought. My guess is he was probably thinking about it like already, and probably had just made up his mind previously.
I like HG a lot because the knight on f3 is well placed anyway, and because the pawn on g5 pretty well kills all the f6 stuff. And it's going to be a rare day that h4 is a danger because of g4.
Well, what if black just goes like h4 immediately, g4, and then knight e7, and then knight g6?
All I know is that the knight on g6 isn't as great as one might make it out to be. But for example, knight e7 will go take a bitch. Let's just presume that we take for a moment.
Yeah, knight c5.
And then knight e4, and then we're playing f4 next.
Oh, knight d4. Oh.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, knight b5 also might be annoying.
And I want to stress, even with h4, you go back. Yeah, I'm not, it's not the thing I'm worried about there. Because why? Because it's my side of the board, black side, white side. And usually you can mess around. That's the general. thing. Plus, I'm not sure the knight on g6 is any better than the knight on f4.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. The knight on f4 is like a looming bastion of hope. I get it. But what I've had that knight. Sometimes he's just hanging out there. I don't know.
I mean, I can go knight g6 right now, and if f4, there's knight d3. I guess you can take on c5. Oh, maybe I should go knight d3 right away.
I was taking immediately on c5 after dc.
Oh, dc knight c5, you just take. Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, so rook c5, knight d4. Yeah, I still think black is better, even after, like, knight c6.
Well, yeah, I have no idea. F4?
Yeah, 4.
That my king's gonna walk up to the h pawn.
I go king e7.
King e7, king e2.
And, yeah, like rook hc8.
Knight e2. White's already better, right?
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Right? I'm going to go in the h pawn, and I'm going to have some space. And my rook would come down to h7, I guess. You go wild.
But how are you winning the h pawn?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're going back to h8, we'll talk about it. Right, I just see more space, and I see a weak pawn at this point.
Well, this is why I had to stop playing the French, you know, it just...
It's a terrible. All right. Well, and I want to say, too, that rook ac1, there's a lot of moves in this one that felt weird to me. And Mitch is going to watch this. So let me just say, Mitch, that after rook c8, rook ac1, I don't get it. Okay, I guess when I try to crawl inside your mind, I think what you're saying is, okay, right. So what he's saying with rook ac1 is he's determined to play on cd. He's determined to play cd himself, right? And this is going to allow him to take back knight on e5. But the problem is fundamentally that the rook is passive on c1. And first thing is, of course, black misses another opportunity to play f6.
That's true.
But most importantly, just aesthetically, I want to say rook c1, not the place for the beast at all. No. Well, and this is the interesting thing, too, because Mitch is obviously like an openings genius. If I could like get his chessable, like a chessable implant of Mitch in my head of all the work he's done, man,
be unstoppable.
I would be unstoppable. There would be nothing to stop me, man. But these kinds of positions, right? Like things have gone wrong. It's, you know, you're going to get some bad. Everybody's going to get a bad position as well. But you're going to get a bad position, and then you got to be able to play this kind of thing. And that's what's going to turn him into a master and give him, you know, the chances to beat like Hacker 29, or at least hold his own. Maybe.
I think he needs to slow down a bit. You know, we tell him this a lot, but
true.
Like one decision that we kind of criticized was queen takes a6. You know, because he traded queens here. I think he spent like 2 minutes on this move. And that just feels like a think, like, okay, either I trade queens or I lose the pawn, like you were saying. Therefore, gotta trade queens. Whereas he's definitely strong enough to understand that he might be able to get compensation if he goes queen d1 here and just plays for that. It's just that he needs to give himself the chance to actually think about this decision.
Right, and clearly he didn't understand, didn't feel that there was danger involved by not by trading points.
Yeah. So let's see. So, live position. Hey, maybe now would be a good time to check out one of the games from week 1, because we had Mitch who made a draw with Eli, and we could just play through their game, see what happened.
I think I hit Drista. I'm saying it wrong. Is fighting with me, Ghostia. Maybe correctly, and I think it's because I am known as somebody who's criticizing opening study. So I'm mellow in my views. I'm not even on the warpath on it or anything. In fact, I think Mitch is a great example of someone who studied, done some interesting stuff, and he clearly enjoys it. But was it the result of bad opening play? I'm going to say, to a certain extent, and this is actually in favor of those who believe that opening study can save your soul. I think it was, in that he didn't understand the opening. So if you go back to, in this position, if you go back to, let's say, 9 knight f5, now maybe you could have this as part of your database or not, but if you understand just on a basic level that you have to create drama because you are up in time before black solidifies, then I think, even if you don't know anything about the opening, like in terms of having memorized it or whatever you want to call it, you're going to play a move like c4. Yeah, you're going to play a move like c4. Knight b3 is probably also fine too. And in both of those, I haven't turned on the engine, but in both of those, I'd rather be white because of the space advantage and our advantage in development. But
yeah, I've always thought c4 was kind of the idea, just to your point, like for white to get something, because whenever black takes on c4, it looks like they're giving up the the d5 square. That white's giving up this square, but white gets 2 knights that can go to like c4 and e4 and then dominate the d6 square, which is just like much more powerful.
Right, and the danger for black is that his king position long term is full of grief, and he has to be very careful about not letting the position open up. Right. And Bubba's saying the same thing with this. Within 2 moves of leaving book, he got in trouble. Yeah.
But if that was a French, I feel like French structures and Caro structures are just really tough. If you don't have like a deep understanding of these positions, because of like the long-term like strategic issues. But
Sure.
Yeah, just a tough set of positions. I think that like every e4 player has to learn.
Right. Okay, I interrupted you, Gus. You were saying something more interesting.
Oh, I was thinking we could take a look at the game with Mitch versus Eli and see what happened there.
Oh, yeah. So let me pull that up. It was kind of a weird game. I'm going to just take it to the analysis board. And it looks, so Mitch was black, and it looks like it was, like a lot of Mitch's games, pretty deep theory for a while here. So I'm going to call this an anti-martial h3.
Yeah.
And d5. And I think I'm going to call this all pretty known stuff. King h8. I mean, look at this. Mitch knows his business, man. He's going for it. I'm going to go ahead and say that's clearly some kind of known move with King h8. In fact, I'll check it.
Because, Eli is also a chessable fiend.
Right.
I mean, before Mitch, there was Eli.
So a4, b4, a5, f5, knight g3, rook a e8, and I guess the story is right around here. Eli's internet connection or something went whack. It's definitely an interesting position.
Right.
Yeah. And Mitch did think on his last 2 moves. On f5, he spent 10 minutes, and on rook a e8, he spent 5.5. And rook a e8 is a pretty ballsy move, because he could have defended his pawn on e5, but he is apparently well enough versed in the minutia of the marshal that he's saying, if you take on e5, you are going to die, and that might well be true. That might well be true. It's certainly dangerous looking. If nothing else, white has f4, f3 immediate.
Yeah.
Excuse me, black has f4, f3.
Mm-hmm.
So, a shame. A shame that this game didn't get played out, because rook at e8, actually, like, let's say an example where Mitch's opening study, at the very least, got him a nice position out of the opening.
Right.
Or dynamic, or whatever you want to call it, very rich position.
Yeah, no, this position looks really really hectic. White also has this like bishop a4 idea, which seems like really sharp, and
right.
So yeah, basically I think Eli disconnected, and then it's always an issue because if someone disconnects to chess.com, they just end the game. We can't really like reset it. So I guess Eli offered a draw, and Mitch accepted. Which is cool. Actually, if I remember, I think they said White had some chance for an advantage here in this position, but the moves Eli were considering were like not great. so I don't know like who the draw here favored. Yeah, we're having some discussion in the chat about the benefit of opening study as it relates to understanding the positions that you get, the middle games. That's where I think, opening study blends with like middle game understanding, which definitely is really important.
Sure, yeah. Here's something slower. Now, this game posted is not actually part of our dojo, but if I can now, though it is someone who's part of the dojo, this is my student Sully is playing here. Let me bring this into the analysis board briefly.
Sure.
Just so you can get a sense of this. So here we go, another Rui. This is being played right now, and Yospem is this GM from Peru. And okay.
Do you know what is this game like a part of?
I don't. This is some kind of, I think it's just a 90-10 tournament that's going on right now.
So some kind of 90-minute plus 10-second game. Cool.
Right. So I don't know, you're more familiar with these positions than I am. Intuitively, I would want to play AB here instead of knight takes b3.
Wait, hold on. If white has already given up the light square bishop, something has gone wrong. H3 I think is early because it allows knight a5, because normally black has to worry about the e5 pawn. I think c3 was maybe the main move here for white so that he can save the bishop.
Right, dude. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Okay, here's an interesting thing about opening study. My student, this is okay. So let me just say this. Griffin is Sully's brother, and so Sully is actually. So I'm just kind of teaching both of them. And Griffin's a really interesting dude, young kid who has really interesting brain problems, like literal like. I don't want to go into it, but I'm pulling for this kid. Really interesting guy, and both of the brothers don't know anything about openings, like nothing. And Sully is up to about 2,300 strength, though he can play really abysmally.
Wow.
Sometimes, like a lot of kids are just up and down. So in a lot of ways, he is the counterbalance, the counter argument for opening study. But here's the thing for my people in the chat for study is like, if I can get Sully to work on his openings. Now imagine that I'm the coach and I'm saying, no, dude, you need to, if I'm saying that you need to work on your openings, something must really be wrong, right? Anyways, if I can get him like to really study some deep openings, how much, he's like 2,300 strength now, how much will he go up?
200 points.
200, you think?
Easy. I mean,
no,
if he's like, if you're saying that he's already like 2,300 strength, just on his like calculation and like middle gameplay. And he adds like he just starts getting like good positions out of the opening and like knows what he's doing. I think I could see him getting like 200 points.
Interesting. It's a little bit of an unfair thing because kids are going up so fast anyway, and he's like studying all the time. But yeah, it's kind of a thought experiment just in that way. How much do you think it would raise his game? To me, it's a lot of things about, understanding typical structures. And this, I totally agree with you. I was like, it went by so fast I didn't even see. And here, even if you lost it, you'd still play A-B, right?
AB seems more positionally good, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I would expect like my 1700 student who plays white here to know not to give away the light square bishop. I mean, I think he was just kind of tricked by the move order because normally black doesn't play d6 that early, and so knight a5 isn't really a threat. So I think it didn't really register that that's going to happen.
And now he went into the full hunker down move. And I think this is a bad position. So
does black just go f4, b4 here and just totally shut everything down?
Well, the nice news for black is he can wait on that f4 move, right? There he goes.
Wow.
This looks just like a bad King's Indian, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, this is pure grief. Yeah, this is just devastation.
No, this looks like a game from the old Masters.
Yeah, it's a game from the old Masters, yeah. Okay, well, let me pull up, let me go back. I'll pull up the recent moves that Mitch is going on. And it'll be, I think this is actually, we talk a lot about Mitch and his openings, but one of the benefits of this tournament is for him to get a position like he currently has, a slightly worse ending and see if he can hold it.
Wait, Jesse, before we do that, you think maybe we could just talk a little bit about the Griffin Mac game, just like maybe about the conversion here? Because I think a lot of people understand that it's like a huge space advantage, but like what would be the plan to actually win the game?
Okay, I'm going to say something dogmatic and say it's kind of already won. You've got the better bishop, you've got the better rook, you've got the better queen.
No, I agree. Black is winning.
Better king. And there's going to be more than one way to do it. But in general, you want to open up, the first thing you want to think about doing is opening up another line. You need to open up another line. So you might even be looking very soon at some kind of, I guess it's not Zugzwang, but it is very difficult for white to move here.
It's true, actually.
But let's say that the only last hope that white has in this position, right, is that he's hoping to have a wall of pawns against that bishop on e6 and to somehow hold death off. But it shouldn't really be possible. Okay, but you asked a fair question. How do you do it, right? One good thing on a practical level is you can definitely go around and around a little bit. And by that I just mean we have time. Black is in no rush with anything here. So you could, want to be a little careful about how you do it.
I think black is better here. I think black is better in potential endgame. Only position is like if we trade rooks, then black doesn't win that probably, right?
Depends where our king is. It might still be winning.
Yeah. If the king is somewhere like G2, then that would be pretty dangerous for sure.
Like for example,
I was just thinking about this move. I should have said it. Damn.
I think that's just one of many winning moves, honestly. I was even thinking Queen H6 that endgame was winning.
Yeah.
This one's easy though, isn't it? I mean, we're just crushing through.
Yeah, I really like this idea. Like Rook H8, G3, Rook H2.
Yeah.
And then G3 definitely is still a big question because we might we might want to keep GF as an open option. Yeah, I do feel like the immediate instinct for white is to go rook a1. So like offer a rook trade and then at least try to feint some counterplay with rook a7.
But rook a1, isn't there just GF immediately?
Yeah, we take. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it looks really bad. Yeah.
I think that's his intention anyway. Rook h8 might also win, but I think his intention is to play
So
GF.
Like, Queen g2, King e1, and then Queen h1. Take on f3. Yeah, should be winning for black.
Bishop h3 at the end there too is also even more like devastating.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so rook a1 is probably losing. By the way, what do you think about Bubba's comment in the chat earlier, where he says that the biggest difference between a player like 2100 or so, 22, and us is like the difference in quick calculation? Guess like accuracy of short variations.
That's an interesting thought. I don't know how accurate. Actually, a lot of times I'm not with my cognitive decline, buddy. I'm not feeling that accurate, but there's probably some truth to it. You know, one thing I'm seeing with just watching Mitch's endgame play here is he doesn't know where the pieces go. You know, and I hope he doesn't take that as a disparaging remark, but he doesn't. Yeah, he's putting his pieces in strange places, and his opponent is doing similar odd things. So I think that is a key difference. You know, is just knowing where the pieces go. I know that sounds dumb, but honestly, that's just what it feels like when I'm watching this game here, especially the end here.
Vishnu says, most often I miss critical responses by the opponent on move 1 or 2 of short variations. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like, yeah, a lot of times, I mean, it's all relative, but I feel like when I analyze with stronger players, a lot of times, yeah, I spent like maybe 15 minutes on some position, and then they like, oh, I didn't consider this because of this one move. And it's like, yeah, that's like 15 minutes I could have saved not calculating this like random nonsense.
One thing so I've been donating my mornings to studying Kasparov and then now Sarah-won games from back in the day. And to my mind, the difference between those guys and me is they're able to dismiss variations that I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And a lot of times, sometimes I'm right. But a lot of times it's like, oh, they saw something and I couldn't process it even when I'm going over the game. You know? So I don't know if that makes too much sense, but that's just my current experience just now.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, we finally got d takes c5 from Mitch. So now we're getting that structure where maybe white is not doing that badly, at least compared to other positions that could have happened.
Right, and he's got it, and his rook, the white rook being on d1 is necessary for this variation. So, well, if you were gonna not take on c5, it's necessary. This particular position is just much better for black still, and it can be surmised by just noting that every one of the black pieces is better, you know, unless white has some kind of amazing c4 idea, which I don't think he has right now. Maybe he could dream about it, but unless he's got something like that, it looks to me like black's just clearly better, and it's a real problem that the black king is covering all these beautiful squares that white wants to invade on.
So now f6 is a move black can play basically at any point, yeah?
At any point. I mean, for whatever reason, both players were allergic to the idea that f6 was a good idea for black. Okay, so there we got it. The knight d4 move was played. And this is going to at least make black think a little bit about how to play the position.
Yeah. Because if knight takes d4, well, I can still think about cd, because that would force knight a6.
No. On CD you have knight a4. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, there's no knight d4.
But I mean, structurally, white wouldn't want this unless we can like dominate the c file or something. So maybe we take and go rook c1 and like. I mean, I would still take black, but it feels like it's not that bad for white.
Yeah, this is a big moment for black. Yeah, this is a big moment. I think, let's say this, black has played some funky moves too, and at the very least, Mitch has presented his opponent with some questions that he's got to answer now. Let's take it. Let's meet in the analysis board here for a second here.
Yeah.
So knight d4. One cool idea. So let's just say the positional drawback of this is that this pawn is now funny, but because black has dislocated his business here a little bit, we're going to have to do this, and maybe black has fine compensation, or white has fine compensation. For example, if the natural knight b5, then a4, and
right.
We're in business.
Absolutely.
So
Big
that's
business.
a key variation for Mitch. So and that's a bummer, because it means that you're going to have to do something lame-o, like knight a6. But after knight a6, it's just like, no, we didn't want this position.
No, b4, right? Just b4.
Okay, fine. I mean, either one, we're doing great. Yeah, b4 is even stronger. That's right. So knight d4, Hacker is going to have to figure something out. So let's say that rook c7 on move 17, it's a natural move, but it really doesn't go to the core of the position.
Yeah.
And if we just note something, I think this is obvious. If we play cd instead, that is a much better version for black. Because if cd, then you have to worry about knight d4.
Right.
And that just looks unpleasant.
Yeah, for sure.
And if knight takes d4, which is maybe what you should do, you again have this choice. I'm assuming pawn takes, knight takes is very strong. So I'm assuming you got to do that. But after knight c5, I guess you're just worse. Let's call it either a little bit worse or clearly worse. You pick.
Immediate f6 there was also a thought.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I always loved black in these positions. I feel like I beat many 1900 rated players in this type of endgame. Have we read Forcing Chess Moves by Herd Tran? I read a little bit of it, but not enough to really give a solid opinion. Definitely looked like a really interesting book for developing your tactical vision.
Foos Chess has an idea, and I haven't read it either, but I think what he's saying is, so d takes, knight takes, knight d4. Would self-pinning be an option? So it would go like this.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And it scares me, of course, but so the idea is kick the knight, walk the king, hop the knight, right? And you have to hope that terrible things don't happen to you while that is all going on. And I'm going to say, at least intuitively, no, or at least it's not going to end greatly, because knight h3, f4 is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So, for example, there might be something more fancy, but like king f1, f6. I don't know if we want to take. Let's take. No, let's not take. So here, I don't know, snip, king d7. knight f4. Bad business.
Yeah,
Bad.
not what black wants at all. Yeah.
Though even here, maybe you'd make this really disgusting move rook h8 and say your life isn't completely over. But not what we wanted. Not what we wanted.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it often just comes down to like, yeah, we have a knight attacking a pawn that our rook is now tied down to. So, how can white really be in like huge trouble here?
But let's say that in this position, white's under real pressure.
Mm-hmm.
White needs to figure it out. But it's not a totally obvious thing for me about what he's supposed to do.
Well, I don't know. I think what we've looked at is like the best positions white has gone in all game.
Oh, absolutely. You know, black needs to find something.
So
right
for me,
now.
yeah, it's like it's up to Hacker to find how to like really. So I guess the other move that I would be really considering is G6.
Okay, yeah. It's a sad day because now when we play f6, it has far less force, but maybe we just have to do it at this point.
Yeah. And white still has this idea of like rerouting the knight to f4 after like taking on f5.
Right, let's show that. So there might be more than one thing for white, but let's say here, knight h3, knight f4 looks pleasant for white, but black's still fine. And maybe white, though, aka Mitch, can hurt him even worse with, I'm wondering if he can get away with c4.
Yeah.
c4 is might be the baller attempt to like hurt black for his transgressions here. After for the playing move like rook c7.
Yeah, whenever like someone played c4 against me in the French, I would always just feel like betrayed. Like I thought we had a gentleman's agreement. You know, we keep the structure as is, and we see who's better. You know, pawn on d5, pawn on e5. Then when they go c4, it's like, oh wow. Well, I guess all's fair now, huh?
Race to GM. I was thinking of that variation too, but it's a thought. Yeah. What a really sad thing for white in that position is, though, that he wants more. He wants more than that in this position. I think Mitch has got his opponent suddenly on the ropes, and we're talking about like what makes the difference between stronger and less strong, and people were mentioning the short variations, and right, like a momentary lapse in coordination with rook c7 is what's led Mitch to suddenly get some chances here. And we can see it there. After knight d4, his opponent realizes that things have not gone the way he's wanted to. And right, things aren't easy anymore. Here's another option for us, Kostya. How about knight a4? You want to take me on f5 immediately, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I think knight f5. Yeah. While you're thinking about it, I just want to say the claim is obvious, and it's that I want to say that black wants to say that he's still master of his domain because of the better king. There are problems, though. Not easy.
I feel like maybe we can take on d5.
Okay, it surprises me a little bit, but let's see what you got in mind.
And I was thinking e6.
Interesting.
I don't know. From white's point of view, I'd be like, I'm so happy I'm not getting ground down anymore.
Well, but wait a second. I thought white wanted to believe that he was now potentially better, but now I don't know what's going on. I can take.
Yeah, rook e1.
Rook h6.
Take here.
Yeah. Okay. So. That's a good move. Okay, let me try it again. I have to admit, I missed the power. The power of Rook F5. So E6. All right, F6.
Yeah, F6. Honestly, not too clear about.
I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
So with this knight A4 move, let me just say, I think it was going to go here, here. I think you want to protect B2.
Yeah, let's say, yeah, Rook C2.
Or Rook D2. I'm not one of those moves. This is going to be the difference between GM or not. And maybe that's my real drama, knight H3, F4. But, you know, I do have a move. So whether you go Rook C2 or Rook D2, I can play Rook D8, and I think I'm threatening to play D4.
Well, here, I mean, it feels like, yeah, in addition to F4, maybe White just plays Knight F3, Knight D4. Kind of more.
Okay, but you see what I'm doing here. Now Black at least has active play, and the king is doing work. The king on E7.
But I'm just still confused how we got here, because here it feels like Black is the one that's kind of fighting to have enough.
Well, no, but after Knight D4, Knight D4, White is the one in charge. Black screwed it up with Rook C7.
Wow.
Right?
I guess so. I don't know. It's just happened.
It happened,
so fast, right under our noses. Like,
well, I've been talking about it for the last 10 minutes.
I just have a hard time believing. I'm just like, no, Black is still playing 4. But okay, so what about D6?
Black... First of all, let me just say it happened like we kind of, our first guess was it went like this.
Oh, interesting. So we've got,
and this is on the board. Black has decided to go for this, and my guess is that Rook C1 here by mid would be a very annoying move to face. Very annoying.
Yeah. Yo, how does he not play Rook C1? What else?
He has to see that that he can give away D4 because Rook C7 is the end of the game.
You know, I don't think that's true. I think Rook C1, Knight B5, White could also play like Knight F3 and then A4. And I think Black has issues. Yeah, because
no. You want to? No, I don't think it's that easy. Knight E5, Knight F3, Rook D8. I might play.
But A4?
Oh no, A4. I'm just done. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. So in any case, Mitch needs to find Rook C1. Yeah, he needs to find Rook C1.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think Mitch knows that we are very proud of him, and he is brave by coming on the stream every show and like playing his game. And he signed up as the wild card, you know, this event. He like no hesitation. We kind of offered to him on a whim. It was on the show, I think, and he was like, yeah. All set. So absolutely, he is playing like hundreds of points up potentially like every round.
Hold on. We didn't give it to him on a whim. He earned this right. He won the Warrior round robin.
Yeah,
and that's how he got it. It wasn't a whim. Come on.
No, I mean it happened. It happened spontaneously. We didn't plan the round robins. Although we did have a thought of some kind of qualification.
Yeah. But and I think that for this next Warrior too, I think the winner gets to go up and play with the big dogs.
I think that's absolutely fine. Yeah, if they want to. But no, I think actually, well, for the last little bit, we've been pretty critical of Black's play, if anything. Because I think he could have had a very comfortable game, like, you know, -1 for the computer people out there. And now it seems like maybe he might even be fighting for equality.
Wait, who's fighting for equality?
Well, Black after Rook C1.
Oh, Black I think is nearly lost after Rook c1.
Oh wow.
I think it's really bad after rook c1.
Well, that's
Well, hold on. Okay.
that's pretty.
Well,
I
what
feel
is he
it's
gonna do?
strong. Well,
Well, what's he gonna do?
let's say he goes. I'll go into full defense mode. I mean, this first line with it's rook c8, I thought wasn't that clear, but I actually wanted to try.
Rook c8 might be the best at the moment. Knight e8 is gross.
Yeah, knight e8, I don't love.
Knight a8? Maybe you gotta play knight a8.
Knight a8, I was considering, not gonna lie.
Maybe you gotta play knight. And honestly, that would be hilarious if that was like the star move, would be knight a8. All right, Kostya, let's do this. Let's just play it out. Let's just, in the truest sense of the word, I want you to patronize me. I want you to patronize me after knight a8.
No, I was thinking about knight a8. It's not that dumb, guys. It covers c7. It doesn't get hit with b4, b5, and it doesn't allow rook c8.
And we have a simple plan. We're going to play f6, king over, and then we're going to free our business.
No, absolutely. If we get f6, we get king d7, knight b6. Black is again can be good there. So I think
That's a hilarious move with rook c1.
I think it's worth considering.
Now let me say this on a practical level. We've criticized Mitch for for not thinking long enough in these endings, and here he's definitely overthinking rook c1, right? Come on, it's the only move. There's no other move here that makes sense. You got to play rook c1, buddy.
I guess he is, but honestly, I'm fine with it. I mean, he's improved a lot in this thing.
He's like right now with knight a8. If I have this position as white, I need some time to think about it, because right now it's like black is just on the cusp of breaking out. I assume that as white, I'm going to be able to find something here, but it's going to probably be delicate. Yeah, my guess is it's probably going to be kind of delicate in how I actually break through.
Yeah, and actually, I think someone made the point earlier, in this structure, if we have a rook on c1 and we get our king to d3, yeah, it's hard to believe that white is, like, gonna be worse, even if black kind of untangles. And I think I would agree with that. As long as white's king is reasonable, I think it's going to be hard for black to really create a lot of chances. Yeah, Foos Chess, exactly. Nimzovich has, like, this famous knight h1 maneuver where he brings the knight over to like h3 and then g5. I don't know if he was the first though. I remember seeing some earlier games with some knight corner moves, but yeah, that's he's got the famous one.
I have to admit, of course, it was not on my initial radar with knight a8. I was just like, oh, but it's also just, if he's thinking about rook c1, knight a8 is not the move he should be worrying about. It might be black's best move, but it shouldn't be the one he's worrying about.
Oh, I doubt, yeah, very much he's worried about knight a8. I would imagine either he's calculating like rook c1, knight b5, maybe a4, maybe not a4. Knight b5 seems like the only kind of sharp response. Or maybe he's thinking about what he's going to do after rook c8.
Right. Okay, he did move. Let's see what he did. He played rook c1. Bravo.
Nice.
Bravo. And now we're going to wait a little bit for Hacker. And Mitch has got pretty good time for 49 minutes. Oh, this is a good fight, my friends. This is a good fight.
I think it's a good game for him. I think he kind of messed up out of the opening, but overall, he's done the right things. Right. Hey, DGA Wad. Welcome to the channel. So earlier we were thinking that, okay, if black goes rook c8, then basically, I mean, our idea is that the only way black untangles from this pin is if the f-pawn is freed and then the king can come to d7. Otherwise, white just sits and black just can't do anything. So with this tempo, I forgot what we were doing here as white.
Okay, so first of all, before I found knight a8, somebody maybe even said it. I don't know who said it. In any case, before knight a8 became on the radar, Rook c8 was considered the only shot, and then that I saw, and then I played King f1 the first time, but now I like King g2 even better.
Okay.
Let's say f6.
Yeah.
Knight h3.
King d7.
Knight f4.
I guess rook h8.
Okay, h8. And this is where I think Food's Chess or somebody was recommending this kind of rook c7, knight e6 stuff. But I don't think that's enough.
Yeah.
Not what we wanted.
So I think White should be like very cautiously optimistic here.
Oh no, White should be believing he's winning here.
Winning?
Wow. Yeah, it's a really nice endgame here. This one's a beauty. Like, let's say King f3.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just narrate this a little bit. Before I did King f1, I think that's also nice. But King g2 f3 is saying, even in the endgame, I'm playing on my stronger side. And those variations would say rook c7, knight e6. My king might be useful in a lot of those things. And also just in general, I want to dream about coming to f4 and g5 someday with the king. I want to invade him.
Yeah.
And knight b5, I'm just going to play king e3.
Right.
You know? I think we're getting to lost territory.
Wow.
Anyways, I don't want to stress it too much, but I just feel it's really bad for him. And he thought for rook c1, he thought for 7 minutes, and now Hacker's going to think about it. Kostya, I'm going to get some more fluid. It was 100 degrees here today. It was 100 degrees. And my favorite quote from you that my wife likes a lot is, "It's just not necessary." We were talking about the cold of the East Coast, but it can apply to the heat too. It's just, frankly, not necessary.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Cool. So yeah, it looks like Yospin did win that other game we were looking at, by the way, against Jesse's student Griffin. Let's see. So we're gonna see how Black broke through. I really liked his rook a8 move earlier. Here. White went king d1, rook h8, queen f1, rook h2, queen g1, queen h4. So I think it's pretty wise that he's keeping his options open in terms of whether he takes on f3 here or not. Queen g3, and now he just wins this pawn. White takes, and now this endgame should be pretty bad. f3, f2. Guess White tried to give the knight here. King e3, and surprisingly Black doesn't have a way to just promote this f-pawn because the bishop can't defend the pawn and the rook can only defend the pawn from this one square, so he just goes after b3 and tries to promote this one. Rook c1, nice. Rook c2, and White resigned here because he's going b2, b1 next. Ooh, we got Sam Sevian playing 3-minute with Hikaru. Don't tell Jesse we looked at this, guys, okay? Because this is like 3-minute blitz. This is just between you and me. But Sevian actually is 4.5 to Hikaru 7.5. Not bad. Actually, earlier David was lamenting that there weren't any GM games to watch, but this one would have been nice. Looks like Hikaru is going for the mate. Okay, bishop f4. He covers it. It's knight on c2 though. Hot or not, we're gonna find out. Looks pretty strong. You can always go to e3. He's also got d4. Seems like black is super active, but I guess this is the idea now, pushing d4 and getting this bishop open. Oh, and then the other bishop opens up. Yeah, this feels very, very questionable for white, very iffy. King is just cut.
What did I miss, Kostya?
Hey, Jesse, so I actually showed the end of the game between Griffin and Yospim. Black converted that one in the end game. And now I was looking at this game between Sevian and Hikaru that's going on. It's like they're having some kind of mini match. Oh, but we should go back to Mitch's game because black did find knight a8 on the board.
Dang.
Yeah. And then
look
white
at
played f4.
Instantly he played f4.
So knight a8 was expected. These players are on another level.
It wasn't expected. Like I said, that's where you want to use your time after knight a8, because you need to find a whole plan after knight a8. Is an f4? I'm not thrilled about f4. Yeah, I'm not thrilled about f4.
Yeah, because there are so many positions where the knight was using the square,
right?
And now he's just taking that away from us forever.
Yeah. And I think his intuition with f4 is something like, I must expand on the king side, and maybe I'm getting my king out. And if you believe, as I guess Mitch does, that f6 is always bad for black, then maybe, like, if you just put yourself in a world where f6 is always bad for black, then maybe f4 isn't so bad. But to my mind, f6 needed to be played multiple times already here.
Yeah, interesting. I also like the suggestion in the chat that white could have played f3 g4 in the future. And absolutely, like, I can imagine a lot of knight end games where white plays f3 g4 and makes like a kingside passer, especially if black has already played f6 and went gf6. So that's kind of an idea that white, I mean, still possible to get a g4 break-in, but I don't think it would be as effective without f3.
Right, and you know, one of the reasons too to move the king in, and to say that moving the pawn, and one of the problems with moving the pawn to f4 is that pawns don't go backwards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think f4. Yeah, that's the move. He did play that really fast. Yeah. First, I'm going to say Hacker 29, and like we said, this is a chance for Mitch to play against higher level opposition. Most of the guys that Mitch has played before don't play knight a8. Right? They are not on the level of knight a8.
Yeah, that's true. Well, black thought about it for about a good 5.5 minutes. I imagine maybe Mitch was kind of rechecking his lines, maybe noticed knight a8 was possible at some point and decided, okay, if he goes there, I'm just going to play f4 and just strengthen my position. Well, now the question is, like, still, black has to untangle.
Okay, let's spar with it a little bit here, Kosi. So I'm gonna play f6, like I've always wanted to. No, wait, f4, f6. Okay, why don't you play white here, just so we get a sample variation. Next move, I'll probably play king d7.
Right. Let's see. So as white, my first thought would be knight f3.
Yeah. Let's say king d7.
d7. Actually, you know what I would want to try as white is knight h3, and then thinking about ef and f5.
It's genius, but check it out. King d7, f5, ef, knight f4, knight c7.
Oh yeah, knight c7.
My knight does good work there.
Wait, hold on a sec. Let's see.
And let's just say your intuition is I'm into it, because when you play f4, f6, knight f3, you have to ask yourself, well, why is my knight so cool on f3? What is it doing? And no one really knows.
Yeah.
No one knows.
I still like White's chances there. Well, yeah. Let's say we just go EF, GF, and then just like King F2.
Okay, hold on. This is interesting, but was I being a jerk? Hold on, maybe I was being a jerk. F5, EF. Okay, so if you want to, you could play EF here yourself.
Earlier,
I was thinking here maybe I should throw an FE, but since you could do EF yourself, let's just leave it at that.
Right.
Okay, King D6.
Honestly, I just want to play A4, so I don't want Knight B5 to be a thing. Maybe it's bad, but that's kind of my conception.
Okay. I fully believe in black here. I think. Like, let's just say I play actively here. Rook E8.
Yeah, Knight H5. Knight F6. I mean, H5?
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't. I do want to admit that I'm scared. I do want to just admit it. I want to put it out there. It's scary, yeah. So, okay. Black has, let's just say that this position, let's go back to this one here. Black is up a pawn, white has some compensation, but I'm going to say it's about equal. It's pretty hectic. Knight A6 is a move, B6 is a move, and at any point I activate the rook.
Yeah.
Okay. But in this position with F4, F6, Knight F3, I still want to, even though I feel like white's blown it, I guess I want to still say that white is better.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, what drew me to the other line is just here I didn't really understand where white's play is coming from, so it made sense to try to go for this F5 stuff. But then, does that mean you think F4 was a mistake? Because
oh yeah, F4 was terrible.
So what could have white done then with this move?
Okay, good question. So.
Oh, we talked about this already. Yeah, we said just King G2 and
King G2 makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah. But it's an interesting question. Like, if I'm white, this is the position I really want to think about it, because it's going to be concrete. Like, black is going to have to try to get out, and whilst he's getting out, that's when he's really in danger. And so you want to be ready to meet any escape attempt that the guy's got, right?
Yeah, I know, I totally. Jesse, I need to replenish as well. So
okay, go replenish.
Let me take a quick break.
I'll just talk a little bit here.
Yeah, actually, I'll put a little bit of music on. Let me.
Oh, don't music me.
No music.
Music me.
No music. Never mind. I thought it'd help you if anything, but I'll cut it.
So knight f3, I might come back to this position with knight a8, but just to keep us all up to date, this is the current position with knight f3, and black has played king b7. And both sides, there's dangers to both sides, and let's just say that, like, common French wisdom is that black is the one who should be better here. But the danger is, of course, let me totally rephrase it. Black is not even close to being better here. What I mean to say is, like, eventually this pawn on d4 can become a problem. And what white it can now hope for, since the knight is very undynamic, he can hope for playing for space. And the bummer, of course, is like, well, still, I wished I could have done something with this knight. Maybe you guys can find something for me to do with the knight. At the moment, it's kind of a drag for me, I gotta admit. But if you just sat on the position of king f2, e3, you should be better. You know, it's really a bummer with f4. f4 was really a bad deal. Let's go back and see. Arch says king g2, f3, gg, and maybe let's consider it. Go king g2, f6, rook f8 would be the sad thing to do. But okay, f6. Yeah, rook f8 might be more interesting than I give it credit for. Knight h3. And maybe black can consider something a little bit radical, like, this looks terrible actually. I was going to say fe, rook f8, knight f4, rook f5, but this has got to be terrible with rook c8 and rook c7. Yeah, got to be just absolutely horrendous. So, no bueno. Let's not take, and let's play king d7. I'm assuming knight f3, knight f4. But still, knight c7. And white's much better, but the game isn't over. And that's why I wanted the king on g2, is at some point I'd love to do something like that. And we had this variation earlier, and it just seemed like white was clearly better, and I was saying things like winning. I'm not sure about winning anymore, but definitely clearly better. One cool variation that I thought of actually when I went to go get some water was here. And a6 looks weird. This is an old French trick, though, with the idea that a4, knight here, and then we swing around. This is full of all kinds of drama in itself, so but that would at least be an idea for black. In any case, this has all happened, and in the past, a thing of grief for Mitch has been that he's moved too quickly, and f4 and knight f3 were both played way too fast. Now he's thinking about it. Honestly, it's a little bit hard for white to find an idea. My sense is if you turn on the computer here, the computer is still going to say that white is better because of the space advantage. But having been in positions like this myself, it's like, well, what am I going to do? And honestly, just improving the king it's all I got. It's all I got at the moment.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey. So, yeah, race to GM, knight h3, intending some kind of knight f4, and that's where f4, pawn move f4 was really bad. So let me ask you, Gosa, just looking at this thing, I really don't know what else to do for white except bring my king. I don't really have any great ideas here for white.
Oh, this is what happened, huh? Knight f3, king d7.
Yeah, this is what happens.
Oh.
And, I blew it here. He has king f2 on the board. So, at least with king f2, what you can do is you can say to yourself, now I can just play king f2 and wait to see if black wants to play knight c7 or rook c8.
Yeah.
My guess is the guy should play knight c7. But I don't see any other ideas besides king f2. I don't know what else. We kind of put our knight into a horrible position there on knight f3.
Right. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things. I mean, you play knight f3 because you feel like, well, if black ever takes on e5, I can take with the knight and I'm really good. But, yeah, the problem is black never takes on e5. They just don't do it. There's no way to force it.
And Jawad asked, why is f4 a bad move? And let's talk about it a little bit. It's because, first of all, it's very committal. So you lose a lot of ideas. For example, you lose ideas of f3, g4 that we talked about before. But also, it kind of really restricts your knight, because after f6, like a really key idea for the knight is to come around to f4 to hit these weak squares and pawn. So that's one of the main things. And you see it in the game, because after f6, knight f3, the knight on f3 really doesn't have any kind of dynamic future. At least that I can see. You know, maybe there might be some night dream that he can come up with, but I don't see it yet.
There is a plan. There is like knight e1, knight d3, try to use the c5 square. And maybe the f4 square one day from d3. But that's a little slow.
The bummer with knight d3 is, of course, then b6 is going to come. You can't use the square. But yeah, it's at least an idea. At least an idea. Yes, we're still waiting on king 7. I had a fun thing for us to do, Kostya.
Sure.
So let me just narrate this a little bit. Kostya and I were doing some commentary, and there was this incredible game with Jeffrey Jean. We then had Jeffrey in to talk about the position, and I thought he was going to say that he was worse but had chances, and he was like, "No, I must be better." You know?
Yeah, really confident.
Very confident. It's very interesting. Yeah, and so then we had. Was it his opponent or somebody else on? Yeah, we had somebody else on. We just asked him, like, what do you think about this position? And dude was found some kind of resource in our game, in the position that we were looking at. So I was thinking, maybe we could take a look at that game, just that position, rather, and then we'll ask the engine. We'll cheat. We'll cheat on air. We'll live cheat.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, I was just thinking, like, yeah, I never looked at it with the engine. It would be interesting to see what they say. Hey, by the way, I totally missed it, but thank you for the raid, Death by Checkmate, and following. Much appreciated. I was just gonna say it's great username, and if it's a reference to Futurama, then I appreciate it.
So in this game, Black played actually go back a little bit. It's this London, and Vishnu's already, if he's watching, he's already dying inside. Very interesting position. G5, controversial. G4, controversial. And one of the things that's very interesting to me about this is that I would also feel like I should be winning on principle because of the crimes that Black has committed.
Yeah, knight on g7, f6, g4, yeah.
The whole thing. But we get this coming position, and what's amazing to me about it, there's many amazing things, but knight f3, so Jeffrey said he really liked this move, and I think he kind of saw most of what the next couple moves anyways. So then it went rook f7, rook ad1, snip. Now maybe snip wasn't forced or anything. Then we went bishop f6, and in this position I started like not being so sure about who's better and why. Okay?
Yeah.
So here's the position that we asked Jeffrey about, and we kind of looked at different moves. We weren't looking at the computer, and I came up with like queen b6, and interestingly, the next we couldn't find a solution, but then this other GM came on, and we were looking at the following variation. That was a great geometry lesson. It went like this, and like stunningly, it's very difficult to deal with the stupid knight.
Right.
It was like there's no rook c8.
I think it was Liam.
Yeah, I think it was Liam. And did I really understand this position? I'm not sure I understand this position. Maybe, in fact, excuse me, you don't take on h7. You leave it pinned. You leave this guy pinned so he can't even move away.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then you do something like bishop e4. Okay, so here was the amazing thing. Now, regardless of what the computer says, what's just interesting is that Jeffrey's intuition here was that white should be winning, and Liam's intuition was that white should be winning. And so one of the reasons it's so fascinating to me is like black has all these moves, queen c7, queen b6, and instead of like calculating them to death, Jeffrey just looked at the position and said, it's the weakened king position should be enough. Now, my own chess prejudice was that this bishop was amazing. Like, his extra piece is actually like an amazing defensive piece. Okay, we ready?
Yeah, let me turn it on. Although I think you need to give me permission or something.
Can I just turn it on?
I won't see it. Yeah, on the stream.
Oh, here's something amazing. So in the game, we all felt that rook e7 was a bad move.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying white is only a touch better. A touch after rook e7. And queen b6 is next, but that variation I showed with bishop e4, boom, computer says plus 1.3. Wow. So wait, I thought black had like just died immediately after it wants. You're looking at the computer too, right?
No, actually I don't have it. It's not available.
That's so weird. There might be some way that I can like allow you to do it or something. Okay, but I'll just tell people, I guess, what's going on here. Mm-hmm. So rook e7, queen f4, and it wanted, instead for black to take on e1, knight e1, and then play queen e7. The bummer there, though, is rook takes d7, and white's just at the very minimum, very pleasant position. Very pleasant position.
Yeah.
Okay, so in general, I guess we have to say that that Jeffrey was right. And what's funny, like when let me just say, when I get these positions in a game, I get really nervous about all of the possible resources. So I could end up losing my mind over this move, queen b6. I could just stare at it and stare at it and stare at it. And amazingly, the computer also, this is another point for Jeffrey, the computer is saying you don't have to find the rook d7 thing for it actually to be beautiful. You could also just play rook d6.
Wow, this move. Wow.
And what the amazing thing about rook d6 too is, check it out. He's saying on rook e8, we're just going to take it. Thank you very much. And then wherever you go, the famous bishop e4 comes back into play.
Wow.
And it's basically good night. Yeah.
So okay, once we win the piece back, then it's like material advantage for white with the 2 pawns. You got rook c8 coming. I also I keep expecting g4, g5 to just win the game for white.
Yeah, that might also happen. Yeah.
So
that was beautiful. So yeah, after we talk a lot about intuition and stuff, that could be a I don't know if you want to call it a puzzle or a training position, but that's a pretty good one for me.
It is really instructive. I think this type of position is the one where a lot of people might say yeah, I can kind of see white's compensation, but during a game I wouldn't want to go for this. I without seeing how I'm getting the piece back.
Right.
But it's I don't know. I feel like one of the things we kind of have to learn is to just learn to intuitively go for positions that we think are going to be good for us, because Then once you get here, the idea is that you should be able to find a way to continue the position. It's impossible to calculate everything out from afar, but once you get here and then you start looking at your options in this moment, then you start coming up with different ideas. And well, if your evaluation is correct, if the position is good for you, then there should be something. And well, it's easier for you to find it when it's right in front of you, so you might as well go for it and then spend that time here evaluating your options, because black also has a wide choice. And I think maybe that's one of the things that people maybe underestimate is how easy it is to blunder when you're under pressure as black here. So I think, yeah, a lot of games they just end because the opponent hangs something. I mean, this is like Fedoseev playing black, and he didn't hold the position. He's like 2780, you know, strength or something. Like, so even the world's best player is gonna like collapse here.
And he actually played. That was funny because his move, rook e7, I felt during the commentary that it was just a bad move. You know, when I said it was bad, it's actually the engine's top choice. It's the next move, which I also didn't like, but it's consonant with rook e7, that the computer really doesn't like, which is bishop d7, which then allowed instant death with queen d2. That was instant death.
Yeah, queen d2 was amazing. Apparently not. I think it's not the only winning move in the position. At least Jeffrey was saying like, oh, he could do anything. Rook d1.
Yeah, the guy's just like, I can do anything. It doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Totally interesting. Yeah. Okay, well, that was a good little thing for myself.
Yeah. I always love games with just like material sacrifices that aren't super obvious, and then they
and
work
we gotta
out.
say, Mitch's knight has begun to dance in France.
Oh no.
I don't know if it's a bad thing, but it's starting to dance in France. So let's just look at knight e8 now.
So he got knight e1, and then black. So he spent 12 minutes on this move again. Bravo to Mitch, spending time in an endgame.
Knight e1, right?
Black went b6, and he's like, I see where this is going, and I don't like it. And
b6, I want to say is premature.
It is, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You might as well play knight c7. You're going to do it anyway.
Right. Wait for white to commit and then go b6.
And knight g2 has a little bit of venom because maybe your f5 idea. No, but I actually still can play knight g2. I mean, knight c7 response. So this f5 idea is only going to work once knight e3 comes. But the knight on e3 is all black has to do is play f5, and the knight e3 is toast. Yeah. This is now officially anybody's game.
Right.
I'm not thrilled about any of this. It's funny actually. We go back to king d7 on move 25. I wanted Mitch just to play king f2, the simple building move, which would have forced black to show his cards, whether it's rook c8 or knight c7. You know, I think he should play knight c7, but in a practical game, you have no idea what the guy's gonna do. So you just play king f2 and see what happens. This prancing and dancing, honestly, the knight on g2 does not seem any better to me than the knight on f3.
To me, it kind of feels like the game is heading toward pretty drawish territory. Like if we get knight e3 and then black plays f5, and eventually the white gets the knight to g5, and then black is like tied down to this weakness, it'll just kind of feel like neither side will be able to do much there. And,
I totally disagree.
Well, to me,
I totally disagree. Once the black knight finds its way to b5 or c6, then you have to become passive. Your king better hope it's on e3 at that point.
Yeah, king e3, king d3, pawn on a3, rook on c1, knight on g5. What could go wrong?
Well, but think about it already. Like knight c7. Let's see, that's happened. That hasn't happened. But knight c7
makes sense. Yeah. Let's say we go.
Now, by the way, I'm willing to say that the position might be dynamically equal, but I don't think we're headed toward a draw. I think this prancing and dancing shows that Mitch is very uncomfortable with this position. And something like what you want, king f2, right?
Yeah, king f2.
All right, let's think about it for half a second. Oh, rook g8. Am I sure about it? I'm not, but I did.
Alright, I'll go king e3.
Again, I'm not sure about this. I was going to go takes.
Okay, fe.
d5.
e5. Oh, rook f1.
g8.
Give this check.
Okay. I don't know. c6.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not really clear why I gave up this pawn. Let's go back. Seems wrong.
By the way, I have no idea what's going on. This is just like an attempt for black to play active and try to mess with white's coordination here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool idea. You just have this knight on c7 holding the queen side down. White can't do anything there, and you just play g5. Can't say I love this knight on g2.
No, the knight on g2 is weird.
Could have had this knight on h3, and things are okay.
Knight c7 was played in the game, so this is our game position here. And you know, I think you better play king f2 because on knight b5 you got to have that king e3 in reserve.
Yeah, gotta have king f2. Rook g8. Yeah, the problem is if we put our king on f3 in that line, then black will hit us with knight b5, and it's unpleasant.
Right.
So king kind of has to hang out here.
And by the way, I don't have to be, you know, rook g8 is a pretty fancy move. I'm sure there's other moves. Like, if you just wanted to be a tame French player, you could go knight b5, king e3, and then a5.
Mm-hmm.
So that, if a4, I have knight a7, c6.
Yeah.
And I'm always just looking at your pawn and saying, buddy, you're passive. You're going to be passive on that pawn.
Yeah. Actually, going to the other line, I think on rook g8, honestly, I'm tempted to just go back to ef and f5.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good, but I mean, I have e5.
Yeah, e5 is... Black wasn't quite ready for it in the other position. Okay, and if we start with f5, then maybe fe. Maybe it's playable.
Like that, and then what are you going to do?
Yeah, let's say take. And take.
But I've got all my dreams are here, right?
Yeah, no, looks pretty good. Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like white holds with...
But I got like g5 immediately. That's why I put the rook there.
Yeah. But, okay, take. Takes.
I guess I could think about taking the knight, too. But
Yeah, knight f4.
that's a pawn, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like material's kind of reduced, like rook h1. Definitely, I mean, black is, yeah, like pawn up, but
Yeah, this is what that's what they call a pawn up. They call a pawn up.
I don't know. It seems like it feels like white should be well within the drawing range still.
Okay, so now look, this is all psychological at this point. So king f. Let me just show you what happened. So knight c7 was played, and then dude played a move. He's losing his mind with a4. Let me promote a4.
a4 on the board. Well, he's stopping knight b5.
Kind of, sort of. He's also making huge weaknesses on his opponent's side of the board. So the obvious plan, now maybe there's others, but the obvious plan is knight knight a6, b4, touch the, make him worry about that, and then come back to c6.
Mm-hmm.
There's other plans for black too, though. Yeah, black has interesting notions. In this position, like b5 at some point is really suddenly an idea for black. Yeah, b5 is interesting. And he could... So a4, let me just say, a lot of times I make fun of people for not... I try to do it in a way that's loving and kind, Kostya. That comes off as making fun. They don't fix their worst piece. And like this king on g1 has not fixed himself for many moves here. And white's gone off prancing and then done this a4 business. So black has the better king, and right now should be able to find a plan to take advantage of this coordination.
Is white interested in playing a5? Maybe if, like, you know, our rook is like more active, but it's a hard sell because I think for one, a5 black can go b5 and then like feels like can go after the pawns, can go after the c4 square.
Right. How about this move, Kostya? I like this one. Rook b8.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that.
You like your pawn breaks. Rook g8, g5, rook b8, b5.
Well, I don't know if I like them in some general sense, but I mean, this is what black does in these positions. Like, white has the space and we have the counterattack. We have to counterattack. And the counterattack is going to work when white's pieces are funny bunny like they are now. Knight a6 was played, so that was the, like, that's just like a first reaction that I had to knight a6. Probably fine. I'm assuming that's got to be fine. But please, Mitch, play king f2 now, buddy.
Yeah,
Play
it's like,
king f2.
I mean, it's not like you always have to bring in the king, but somehow like every single GM endgame I see, it's like both sides are always using the king. It's just like, it's just a good thing to do. Like 95% of positions.
Right, and we should mention too that once the king gets to e3, then your ideas with f5 will become more potent.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So I'll have to watch out for that more when that happens. So knight a6, the reason I'm not thrilled about it is I'm not sure black is that much better after, say, king f2, knight b4, king e3. Right? I'm not sure, like, black is as good as he deserves to be. I feel like he deserves to be better now in this position. But maybe black could still claim that he's just peachy here.
Jesse, what do you say? People are asking, what are the odds that this will end in a draw?
That's funny. First of all, me and Kostya have had many battles with statistics. I'm usually wrong. Remember there was that one that was like, I felt black was going to make white suffer forever, and then he just like instantly blew it. I would say if this was a GM game where both players wanted to fight, oh god, 50% black wins, 25% draw, 25% white wins.
Mm-hmm.
Like white will, if black pushes too hard or makes a blunder, it can go the other way, of course.
Right, so something like 75% for black. Yeah, I mean, in this game, the ratings are relevant because Hacker is definitely higher rated by a solid several hundred points. Like, this is a player whose FIDE is, I think it's like 2180. And so that's like, yeah, I mean, if we convert it to USCF, usually that's about plus 100 points from FIDE to USCF.
Right.
And Mitch, I think his USCF, I don't know what his rating is, around like 1800 or so. He's definitely underrated, but I mean, less experienced, much lower rated player, no doubt about it.
We got a great question. Sonny asks, "What's the time situation?" And Mitch has got about 31 minutes. Hacker's got 42, and he did just play King F2. So King F2 on the board.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
And hey, Paspon, thanks for the 5 gifted subs. Much appreciated.
Cool.
Pog, indeed.
Yeah, and we're going to be Mitch. I assume knight b4 was played. Yep, as predicted. So black is following this plan. That would amaze me if Mitch didn't play king e3. And the drama for black now, okay, is he does need, in order to win this game, he needs to open his rook, like whether it was that g5 break or the b5 break. And maybe even the great rook b8 move. If we play knight c6, we could just, one cool thing about knight c6 is you can say not only does it belong there, but we are going to make white wonder, like, are we hitting him with this rook g8? Are we hitting him with rook b8? Or maybe even white's wondering about knight a5. So that's a kind of cool mental torture that black can put him under.
Right.
By the way, Kostya, in all these positions where I was doing that rook g8 trick,
Yeah.
I think at least here, for example, I think if FE happened here, I think black just plays DE.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just play DE, and I don't think black's done himself that big of a service by getting this position, because, you know, knight f3 is going to come, and then both of these options are reasonable.
Right.
So, anyways, the reason I brought that up is, from black's perspective, I was thinking that maybe rook g8 was still an idea. In this position, I don't see it too much. I think rook b8 is an idea. For example, knight e1, rook b8, and then b5 next. But be careful, knight d3, and there's no b5.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was one of the, yeah, this is the kind of thing I'm worried about for black, is that will his initiative just kind of peter out? He needs ideas here. And he is thinking about it.
I don't understand, though. Was there any benefit to knight g2 over knight d3? Because, like, earlier white could have just put the knight there, and I mean, from knight g2, it seems like the only idea is to go to f4. But on d3, we're still covering, like, the b4 square, c5.
Well, Kostya, we were just allowed to enter Mitch's brain. We were just allowed entrance because in this position, instead of playing the natural king e3, he played king e2.
Right.
And this is allowing me entrance to his brain because it shows me that he desperately wants knight e3 and has wanted knight e3 for ebbs.
Oh, knight e3.
Right.
But why does he want that?
I don't. That's a question between Mitch and his god. But it's clear just for the way he's moving his pieces that he wants knight e3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he played it again pretty quickly. Yeah, we're gonna crack 100 subs soon. Dang, we need 100 subs. Now, king e2 definitely feels wrong, and on knight c6, let's just say, for example, knight c6, if you play king d3 now, well, then my rook b8 move certainly gains in attractiveness, right?
Yeah.
That just looks nice.
Absolutely. I'm just sad we can't get this f5 idea in for white anymore. Now it's just like...
Right. Think about, can we just admire my knight on c6? It started on c7. What did it do? It went like all this stuff, and then went to, I don't know where this thing went. Then it went back into a6, and then to b4. Yeah, it went all over the place. He's been prancing and dancing too. Yeah.
It's true. let's see. Live position here after king e2. You know, this is like the most normal paced game I think we've ever had on Sunday Night Fights. Sometimes we have games that start off normal and then they just like speed up. This is like actually like pretty realistic. Just like kind of slow developing, a couple of like 12-minute thinks here and there from both players, but nothing like insane. And yeah, very few like quick moves that, you know, didn't have like a long think before them. So the players are definitely taking this pretty seriously. We feel like Black is pushing here, but I mean, whether or not he wins, I think is going to come down to more about like just player skill and maybe even the clock. I think objectively, like if White played this perfectly, I would imagine he should hold, but that's just not really possible for a human player to just play this perfectly. And
I mean, Black's going to make some mistakes too, and already has.
Yeah.
You know. All right, Costa, let's spar here. So let's see if you can hold, buddy. Knight c6.
Yeah, okay. I would try... I'm gonna go king e3.
Okay. So, Costa, let's just announce the crowd. He wants to say if I go b5, that there's a big, fat, nasty knight going to land on c5. Now, I'm just going to guess that dude doesn't see that.
Right.
Because of, yeah, okay, now one dirty trick I could do is I could play rook c8 with a dirty shot of knight e5. But I think you can just play rook c3 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to ask myself why I did it. But at least that's a dirty shot to be aware of.
It's a nice one. Black is slightly better. Black.
Okay, Costa, let me do a little drama here. So rook c8.
All right, I'll go with this rook c3.
Rook g8. Maybe I had a better move.
I want to try knight e1 again.
Fe.
Fe.
So my dirty trick was that it put your rook here, so there was no de.
True.
G5.
Yeah, so I want a knight f3 here.
G8. Rook G4. My guess is this one's lost, Costa.
Well, it's unpleasant, but I don't know. Let me try rook c1. How many tempos do I use to get his knight to g2? A few, but you know, it's like...
Think about the Black Knight. How many tempos he used to get to c6?
Yeah. I mean, they say like a bad plan is better than no plan. I don't know. I think that's like more of a... It's kind of like true in spirit rather than in practice. But yeah, c6 is a good square. It's an important distinction.
Now, I'm going to admit that when I first looked at this, I thought knight b4 was going to be more crushing than it is. But on knight b4, you could just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
With king b2. And this actually dynamic that we have here is useful for thinking about the position, because the reason that Black isn't crushing now is because our king isn't involved. Yeah, our king is not involved in this defense.
Right, yeah, it feels like white is passive, but is playing with an extra piece. And then white is, of course, looking to play like rook g1 at any moment. H-Axis, actually, yeah, if you sign up for the round robins and the sign-up sheet and tournament announcements, I think, is the channel. Just look for the 90 plus 30 round robin sign-up. Definitely might be able to still get you in there.
Okay, good, Kostas. So he did not. We're still waiting, by the way. We're waiting on what Black's going to do instead of knight c6.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. What is he thinking about here?
Other than knight c6, well, I guess he might feel like his knight on b4 is kind of active, so maybe he doesn't necessarily have to. Might be thinking about like rook g8 or something.
Or maybe he's thinking of going for the gold with rook c8 and then bringing his king in. I don't really believe in that, but that might be what he's thinking about.
I did see a really nice Magnus game with this structure, with just the knights on the board, where he got his king into like f5.
Right.
But his knight was like on e4, so I think it was like a much better version than this. And that was enough to win the game. Just active king, active knight, white having a couple weaknesses, that was enough. Rook b8, nice.
What, rook b8 was played?
On the board, yeah. Just
wow. Well, I think your move now, knight e1. Oh, but look what maybe he's gone really deep on this dude, because...
Yeah, he has a point, yeah.
The knight on b4 will prevent the knight from coming to d3.
So he can just go like b5, and then... Yeah, this rook endgame, not good at all. Just rook b3, this one hangs. The structure is really weak.
So just at first glance, I really like the rook b8 move.
Yeah.
It's funny is that I guess... Right, so what Hacker did is he just took the ideas that I was talking about and thought it a little deeper. At least that's what it seems like, at least the first glance. So that, the knight e1, d3 thing, isn't happening.
Yeah, I like rook b8 a lot. And Fustress brings up a good point. Yeah, if Black had played rook c8, definitely huge thought is like what happens if takes ef6 and then g4.
Right, and for rook c8, I'm not sure who's winning there. That's like really dangerous to go for rook c8.
Yeah, no, it would just be like super concrete, like knight c6, knight d8, knight f7, and like maybe black is okay, maybe white is still like winning or something. I don't know, knight h4. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Now let me just say, I'm not. I want to say I'm not yet sold on all of this stuff. So let's try knight e1 again.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, let's do it on the analysis board.
Sure.
So king e2, rook b8, knight e1, b5. Okay. So e5. Let's say AB. I'm just going to assume rook takes b5. Rook a1. And the idea is no matter how you defend... Oh no, this is all wrong again for me. This is wrong because just knight c6. Just knight c6 and like things have gone bad.
Brutal.
The milk has gone bad. Okay, so that wouldn't work. So rook b8. Is a perfect example where this king needed to be on e3 instead of e2. The king e2 was just a terrible one. And we knew it was bad from the beginning. It was like, oh, don't put your king on e2, buddy. Oh, man. Okay, so rook b8, excellent. now Mitch has really got to figure it out. This is where it becomes very concrete.
Yeah, it's a real issue. I mean, White just needs to find counterplay. I mean, you know where I'm going. I want to go f5.
I know you want to go f5. The problem is, if you do it after ef, then e5 is going to come. And if you just play f5, then fe is going to come. And honestly, you've got two bad pieces here, the knight and the king. And both need time to fix their business before Mr. Rook shows up on your doorstep, ready to eat all of your fine morsels.
But don't we have some, like, you know, ideas of just taking the h-pawn?
All right, let's try it. So f5. Oh, wait a second. I always do it on the wrong board. So f5. Fe.
Yeah, just take here.
Ef.
Go knight f4.
Okay, I might be able to get behind this.
I just feel like, okay, if White has targets, then we gotta be happier than what we've seen so far.
Yeah. All right, let's try b5. You might want to think about that one. You got to play a5, do all kinds of things.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Oh, actually, though, Kostya, the bad news is if Black wants to just play it simple, he just plays rook e8. And then you're just much worse, right?
Maybe e6.
King e6.
And, I mean, definitely feels unpleasant, but let's say I go like... maybe like rook d1.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a nice move, I think. Rook c8.
Yeah, I'll take on h5.
That's a good point.
I mean, as White here, it's like, I just, you know, I want a mess. I just want, like...
Yeah, no, you're doing well with the mess. So, let's see here. Refresh the board. Rook b8, White's still thinking. And, right, f5 is the move of a man who's like, man, things have not gone that well. Let's see what happens here. So...
But I also feel like I don't put up great resistance when I'm worse. I think that's one of like my weak spots.
Well, I like what you're doing here. This is pretty good. So b5. Let's try b5 again. I played rook e8. Let's play b5.
Yeah.
I thought rook e8 was going to make my life simpler, but I don't think it actually did.
Oh, b5, right. Yeah, I guess I feel like a5 seems like the move.
God. Yeah, I like that. Well, this is pure spicy. Yeah, I think a5 is fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say Kostya's intention here is to hit him right now before the big drama starts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like a personality thing, you know. I don't like working 9 to 5. I don't like defending, solid but passive end games.
I don't know. No one likes working 9 to 5. Did you hear Mitch is moving to St. Louis and get a job working 9 to 5? A little bit outside St. Louis, but he's going to be in that chess town.
Oh yeah, nice. I actually thought he was already in St. Louis, but I guess he lives in like Texas.
Yeah, he lives in Texas or something. Liking your F5 move. Now he is truly tanking at this point, Mitch is, and his opponent spent 11 minutes on Rook B8 as well. Definitely, and I think he's absolutely right. He should be tanking on this move,
right?
Because if he doesn't come up with something violent like F5, things are gonna depart. Now, one reason I don't think at least he was thinking about F5 before is the King E2 move was clearly suggesting some kind of knight E3 stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's no.
Yeah, he might have been wanting knight E3 and then F5.
Right, which has a lot less force, but. And I'm going to go ahead and admit I was surprised that you got away with what you did. I was a little surprised.
Well, yeah, had to work at some point.
How about maybe I can do it this way? F5, EF. This is allowing you to play EF yourself.
Yeah.
This is not special. I don't know why you think you're special. I don't know what you do.
Quirk was asking about, let's see, I think here, G6, which definitely is a move. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I... Yeah, maybe takes Rook G8, Knight F4, Rook G3, E6, and then trying to come in with like Rook C8. Could be messy. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe Knight C6 and like kind of... Knight C6, honestly, starts to look nice for black. But maybe not so easy. Actually, yeah, like Rook G4, King can come to F3 or something. I don't know.
Was that something Quirk wrote in the chat, or how did you get this great?
Oh,
how did you get this great thing?
Yeah, Quirk is Chess League TV in the chat.
Oh, I see. Got it. So how did we get it? It went EF, Knight F4, and now was it G6 now?
G6, yeah.
Yeah, that's promising.
Maybe White has other moves. There's like Rook D1. Yeah, maybe actually just Rook D1. If King C6 will just give a check.
Yeah. But then I play Rook E8.
Oh, yeah. And we have the same line as before, but White can no longer take on H5.
Right.
Maybe we have to take on G6 here.
Rook E6. Oh, no Rook E6, my friend. There's no Rook E6.
Actually, I blundered that too. I thought, okay, Rook E6, Knight F4.
Right.
White is okay.
So we get this kind of business.
Yeah.
And honestly, who knows? Who knows what's happening here?
I mean,
White should believe in himself.
Feels like, yeah, it's like good chances of liquidating. But not that he's like, you take on D5, takes King E6, and there's like...
Mitch is going deep on it.
Yeah. Let's see. He's still thinking. That's
Yeah,
fine.
still hanging out. Yeah. Hey, so give me and the listeners, what is your next week in the dojo looking like?
My next week?
Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, of course we just had that that big super tournament, so that just ended. So this week is a little bit lighter, but we're trying to get a couple more round robin groups. We just put out the call for volunteers and instructors. So if anyone out there wants to help us out, like volunteering your time, if you're good with something like graphic design or programming, or you just want to help us out, you're not sure what you can do, then we opened up some signups in the Discord under announcements. We're also looking for instructors. Like if you want to teach a certain level and be a part of like ChessDojo, because every dojo has instructors of various levels. You got like the intermediate players working with the beginners and so on. We're trying to set that up. Streaming wise, I'll be doing a couple of streams. Tomorrow I'm doing another puzzle stream with Eli, so that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna do like 2-3 hours of grinding tomorrow, because the tournament last week just killed puzzle grind for me. I just couldn't
Right.
I couldn't keep up. And let's see. I think that's all I can really say right now.
Are you gonna do Title Tuesday with me on Tuesday?
Maybe actually. I just haven't been playing like any Blitz, so every time I play, I feel so rusty.
Oh man, I just getting slaughtered on that Tuesday. I'm just getting slaughtered. And so, if you wanted to come and get slaughtered with me, it's a pretty fun time. You know.
It is fun. Yeah, I'll try to make it work. Yeah, for me, I really want to like get into Blitz and actually start playing like an hour every day and like really working on it. And I was gonna use maybe the puzzle grind as a way to kind of lead into that, because those things feel pretty connected. So, but yeah, like when I'm just playing like one Blitz tournament every 2 weeks, it's always rough.
One thing I actually want to give a shout out to is Kosi and I both did like a fun little lecture for the Paul Morphy Discord group, Morphy Chess Club.
Yeah.
And I don't know that much about him, but Static, who is often here, is involved with that club. It seems really cool. And it just opened my eyes to the fact that there's other cool Discord servers out there. And I wanted to ask you, Kosi, besides Morphy Chess Club Discord, what other Discord servers should I be aware of? It's like chess Discord servers.
Well, yeah, there's a few popular ones. I don't know if they have a lot of like, let's say, relevance, like in the chess community. Like,
right.
Chess.com, they have their Discord server for, I think, mainly like their Twitch channel and stuff.
Right.
So there are a couple of like useful ones out there. So yeah, a couple that they're naming in the chat are good. Like the Chess Lounge is one that's actually pretty similar to ChessDojo. It has a lot of like, just like improving players who talk about chess. I would say maybe it's a little bit more casual, but Chessable now has a Discord server where if you actually like really like Chessable and you want to be a beta tester for like some of their courses, you can join their server and kind of like hear about their hear about new announcements, new courses. For instance, like, you know, Sam Shanklin could do a repertoire and then they'll announce it on that Discord and be like, okay, we need 5 beta testers. I don't know how they choose people. I'm sure like a bunch of people apply, but that's just something that's cool. The Lichess 4545 one I haven't seen. I am part of like the Lichess Discord server, and yeah, if you're a Lichess fan and you participate in their tournaments, definitely makes sense to join that one. I think Leela has a Discord server, but as far as I'm aware, it's pretty technical. But if you're a Leela specialist, you can definitely find some use there. So far, it seems like Discord has been mostly about like supporting a channel or like a streamer. Like Ben Feingold has his Discord server, Eric Rosen has one. I'm sure all the big streamers, ChessBra and so on, have a Discord. Chess Tempo, I actually don't know about, but it would make sense that they have one. I mean, nowadays ChessDojo has become, well, it's kind of like the Discord that's connected to the stream, but originally the idea of ChessDojo was to have a Discord server where you don't have to be fans of the streamer to like join the server. It has its own function, like to kind of connect players that want to find like training games with each other and stuff.
Right. Knights Tour is asking if we give lessons to clubs, and that was just a thing that Static was involved with. Our Discord server asked us to do, and it was just a cool thing. I mean, it was just like one thing we did, but I'm sure we would do it again. It's just a fun thing to do.
We've done a few classes on ChessDojo.
Right. Yeah. We've done the classes, which is cool, and I want to do more of those. I thought those were very enjoyable. Yeah. And I think Ghosty, as well as me, have been doing a lot of stuff with chess camps and stuff. I was really slammed this last week because I was doing, in addition to everything else, I was doing this camp for the St. Louis Chess Club. So that was kind of sucking up all my time. But this week I'll definitely have a little bit more time. Yeah.
Nice.
And the ICC Discord. The ICC is trying to make a comeback. They've always been trying to make a comeback, but there will never be. 1998 will never come back for the ICC.
Why 1998?
1998 was when the ICC was like a major deal, and everybody was playing. Like, people were discovering Blitz online. It was an amazing time, honestly. Like, just imagine chess before the internet, and like a guy like myself who only played some famous people like once in a blue moon at a tournament, and then all of a sudden you go on the ICC and you're playing loads of famous people, like on a pretty regular basis, and
right.
You're playing and you're seeing, like, before Blitz Chess 2 was just a thing that you kind of, chess in general was a thing you couldn't watch live, and then all of a sudden you were watching tournaments live, and also just like strong Blitz chair players, and it was like, at the time, it was a real revelation. It's like, what? You guys can play 3-minute chess at a really high level? That's amazing. Oh, that was ICC, and they had a great stat. Everybody had it in their byline. It would say, person X has spent X amount of time on the ICC since percentage of their life on the ICC since joining, and they had to take it down eventually because it was too depressing. We're just spending enormous amount of time in the ICC.
Yeah, I think I joined towards the beginning of the end of the heyday of ICC, like a couple years before Chess.com started taking over. And that was fun. Yeah, I spent a lot of hours on it. And my percentage was like 5% or something. Like, it was maybe more. And yeah, we got F5 on the board. So
holy moly!
+1 to Mitch.
+1 to you, buddy. +1 to you.
I'm gonna give him a point for finding my move.
He thought for 20 minutes on that move.
Yeah,
wow,
that's great. No, Mitch has been working hard. He's been reading books. He's been working on like a physical board and trying to improve his skill. And
I think F5 is a great move, especially on a practical level, because if he had just sat about, then the B5 was just going to be really powerful. It's going to be really a powerful game. So I like this a lot.
Yeah, I remember those ICC shows, and that was the first commentary that I would watch was on ICC with like maybe Kaidanov, maybe Benjamin, Larry C, Ronan. Oh, I watched so many hours of Ronan Harsby. Oh my god.
I didn't know you were watching Ronan Harsby like a madman.
Actually, I liked all the shows. I liked Gambit Guide with Alterman, Attack with Larry C, Ronan's like opening stuff. Of course, the immortal What Every Russian Schoolboy Knows by Yermolinsky.
Sure, yeah.
Still, I think the best chess web series of all time.
Good time of day to you, my chess. Yeah, that's right.
Those are great.
I think, like Benjamin and a couple other people are still doing stuff on the ICC, so it's not like officially dead. And last year I was in St. Louis. I was talking to Var and Verozhnikov, and saying like he still sometimes plays on the ICC. So yeah, these things, it's like a legacy website. They never totally die.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
There was Fix and there was Ix, if you remember. There was Gix.
Gix?
Fix was the free internet chess server, and Gix was the German internet chess server. And I was a lot on that one because I was in Germany back in the day.
Wow.
That was all happening. Yeah. Well, Hacker's got his own problems now. Is there really other options for him other than F, E, D, E, and EF?
I'm not sure. By the way, hey, thanks so much, Sockscat, for subscribing. Much appreciated. And following. So welcome to the channel. Yeah, other than FE, it's hard to... Yeah, it feels like Black should just welcome just the opening of the position and just try to use that D pawn eventually.
And, you know, earlier we were talking about draw percentage and all that, and what you'll see often at a high-level game, which I think Mitch is actually steering himself toward, is like when things go wrong, you just need to create enough counterplay so that you don't go down in flames, right? And I think that's what this move, it's going to be hard for Black to hold an advantage here without, like, losing the thread.
Yeah, definitely.
Very hard.
But he does have a... Now I feel like it is kind of a significant time edge, because he's got like twice as much.
Mm-hmm.
And 30-second increment, though, is good, and Mitch, we know, is like a really fast player, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
So, Sombrero, let's go down your line. FE, by all means, probably, let's call it the main line.
Yeah.
I was thinking DE, and then I don't know what else Black has besides EF. If you see another move besides EF, you let us know. And Knight F4, and then we've had a variety of moves here played for Black, but we've talked about G6, we've talked about B5, we've talked about Rook E8.
Feels like G6 was the move to beat last time we looked at this.
And another move I want to mention, I don't know if I want to mention. I was going to mention, I'll mention it, is D4.
Oh. Aggressive.
I don't know. I'm not even sure what I'm doing, honestly. I just want to be honest about it. I'm not sure what I'm doing.
Okay, there was an option there, Jesse. Actually, instead of EF, how about Rook F8? I guess just takes and Knight F4 is the problem, because you don't have King E5.
Right. And you're also allowing Rook C7.
Yeah. Otherwise, playable.
Yeah, totally fine. And the whole time, Black's Rook is just like looking to find a way in. So that's absolutely right. Now, let me just ask a basic question, because maybe it's late in the night, getting a little freaky. Does, after Knight F4, Knight H5 is kind of sort of a threat, but after Knight H5, Rook E8, well, Knight G7, Rook E5, who knows doesn't happen. Okay, so Knight H5 is indeed like the threat. The problem with B5, the last variation, was that after A5, Rook C5 was like just a new option that was availed to White. So B5 didn't seem to even help all that much.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see here if they've played. F5 is still on the board.
And he's thinking about it.
I'm thinking about it too. This is a hard one.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones where you really want to maximize everything here for Black if you're going to have a chance to win this thing.
Yeah, it's like, it just feels like an obviously critical moment. Some players, they criticize the whole idea of critical moments. They're like, how do you know it's a critical moment until after the game when you check where the mistakes happen? And it's like, I actually like Agar's definition on this. It's like a critical moment is any position where there could be a real big difference between the best and second best move.
Okay, critical moments where when you go over the game afterwards, if you have I'll say it like this: once you get in the habit of going over your games afterwards, you will recognize that there were certain moments in the game which were totally decisive. Once you study enough of your games, you will get an intuitive sense of when those moments happen. You will actually learn when those moments happen.
Yeah.
And for Black, I know for certain that this is a critical moment, because if he doesn't find something spicy right now, White is just going to liquidate this position.
Well, he played Rook E8.
Rook E8. Okay. So, right. That was the move that I at first thought was going to be an advantage. This was like 20 minutes ago, right? This was like 20 minutes ago. So then we had E6, King D6, and you found Rook D1, which I guess was a good move.
No, he played Rook E8 without taking anything.
Oh, wait, my bad.
Yeah, this one I don't think we talked about.
No, we did not talk about that. I'm gonna call myself suspect that is the right call.
FE played, which makes sense to me. I would imagine Rook E6 is coming, and then Knight F4, Rook E8. Probably pretty quickly. What else?
It's honestly almost like who's better and why, isn't it?
Well, at this point, yeah, it seems like
we can play E6 check, and then we will win the H5 pawn.
Right.
Oh, what does Hacker Don do?
Well, I don't know. I mean, White is still losing the E pawn, but
yeah, but there's no reason to think that we're worse anymore. We're gonna have the outside pass pawn.
Yeah, I don't think White is worse. Yeah, exactly.
And we decide when we take on H5.
Right.
Huh. Look at that.
I mean, it feels a little bit concrete still, because there's like Knight F4, Rook E8, E6, King D6, and then Black can play G5 next.
Okay, but on G5 at the minimum I can take on H5. Let me ask you a question. Sombrero was asking fan off. Does that mean I need to turn my fan? I will if I need to. Is my fan really loud?
No, I turned my fan off, and I think he
I
was observing that. Or I turned my AC off. Okay, Knight F4 on the board. Rook E7. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, yeah. Now, I want to point out that the problem with Rook E7 is you are not threatening FE right now because of Knight G6. So maybe a little too clever. Oh, there's some real spicy stuff happening here. Knight G6 played. I'm not sure about Knight G6 yet. What's going on with Knight G6? Okay, let's put this all on the board here, Kostya. So this is all happened. Rook E7. I feel like if White plays either E6 or King D2, he's doing fine. Knight G6 does not yet make sense.
Right. King should, absolutely go to D2 to kind of play against this knight.
So I'm going to guess, well, Rook E8 or Rook F7. I don't know what this guy's doing.
Say Rook E8. King D2? Mm-hmm.
Can I try Rook F7? Is that okay? Can I just do that?
Yeah. Then I guess King D2 again.
And I don't know if this is wise, but what I was dreaming of was King E6.
I mean, knight f4.
Fine.
Just looks sus, you know?
It looks what?
Looks suspicious. Very sus.
Sus. Oh, I didn't know that word yet.
Yeah, that's how they say it.
No, I think White has to find something amazing right now, or he's in trouble because my king's coming in.
Yeah, it's not on b4. It's just like covering everything. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel. It feels like White is fine though, with like e6 and rook e1.
E6, rook e1. Let's continue the march.
King g4. Knight g6.
I was just gonna back it on up.
And White doesn't promote somehow. Wow.
Kind of hard.
Yeah.
And my king is just much better here. Anyways, so if we go back to knight g6, we should rook e8 happened. The intention of rook f7 was just to say, I actually want to punish this knight for losing its mind. Knight g6. Knight g6 is just say feels superficial. And the reason I wanted rook f7 is now I don't think black can play king e6 because of rook c7.
Yeah,
but
that's tough for black to do, right? Like rook f7 with this king e6 intention.
You mean just psychologically? Or
it does feel, yeah, like it's just like kind of asking for some tactics.
Fair enough. And, here too, it's just like White is, rook e8 is a simple thing to do. And black, it's very difficult for White to know what's going on here. Knight c6 is coming. And you got to put your king somewhere. It looks like black is better.
Wow. There is a thought, to go ef still, and then knight f4 after king d2.
All right, let's try king d2.
Yeah. Oh, king d2 played.
King d2 played. Okay.
So knight c6, would be the...
Knight c6, and when I take, I'm threatening knight b3.
Right.
But ef now, right?
Gotta go ef.
f7 is a threat.
Yeah, maybe maybe king d3 there.
Oh, here's some fancy fans. Knight f4. Knight d4. This might be just too fancy. Knight d5.
Yeah.
That's fancy. I don't know what's going on.
I have a hard time believing it.
I think I do too. But how do you get out of the mess?
So king d6, White takes on f6?
Yeah.
Okay. Knight b3 check?
Oh, you're doing it on the game board.
Yeah.
Knight b3 check. Okay, good. That's a good move. Okay, so if king c2, you're going to go rook c8.
Yeah.
Even that position, I don't know what's happening there.
True.
Because I take on h5. Yeah. I can't be worse there. Well, maybe I don't know. I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. Yeah, should be all right. Oof. All right, Mitch Fabian.
Knight c6 on the board.
King d2, knight c6. There we go. Yeah,
it's gonna be.
We're gonna find out. Yeah, I think ef. It's almost like gotta happen. So let me just say, Mitch, if you're gonna watch this later, you played a number of moves where the pieces felt wrong. So just the ones that pop out to me were rook c1 early on. Early on, you played rook c1, felt wrong.
Knight
Obviously,
d3 in the opening, which pushed black's queen to a6 and then gave white that awkward choice, either giving up a pawn or
right.
trading
But
queens.
what I meant was I was going to list the kind of moves where the pieces didn't know where they were going. Like that was concrete. Like the knight kind of wants to go to b3, but you have to be prepared for that decision. So I wasn't like listing all the mistakes, just the ones where the pieces look funny, like discoordinated, if you know what I mean. Like knight g6 is one of them. King e2 was one of them. Knight g2 was one of them, right? And f4, which limited the knight, was another one. So like a lot of moves where the coordination of the pieces didn't seem happy. And yeah, I think when you look back at most of this ending, the problems come from the pieces not being happy. But black, of course, has made his own mistakes. So here we are,
right,
in our own wild ending.
Well, what about? Nah, it's probably, we can go e6 check, but I think we're gonna regret this move.
Oh, e6 check is pretty spicy.
King d6. But then all the pawns hang, so that's the issue.
Well, yeah, okay. It was spicy. I think what white should say is that it's a big deal that you got the EF-GF pawn structure, right? Like, that's a big deal that everything's so weak there. And a simpler move that we didn't even talk about after EF-GF, instead of knight f4, was just rook f1. And you got to ask yourself, is white really worse after rook f1? Kind of hard to believe.
That's a good point. Yeah, and all these lines, if white gets this h-pawn, their h-pawn becomes really strong. So we have ef6, gf6. Knight f4.
Knight f4.
I'm guessing on knight takes d4, Mitch wants... Well, either knight takes d5, because optically it does feel like maybe white is okay there. Or maybe he wants like some tempo with king d3 and then trying to take on h5 next. This could be the idea as well. I don't know if it's working. There's knight b3, but could be white's thought.
One other idea that black has here, if he doesn't like knight b4 for whatever reason, is he could think about playing rook e4.
Yeah, that's true. But there, I think knight h5 and white just always has counterplay.
That's my intuition too.
Yeah. Yeah, knight d4 seems really critical. I guess we should check this line again. Knight takes d5.
Okay, is there anything else that like, let me just say, actually, let me just say something obvious. If you don't like knight takes d5, you could play rook f1, and I think you're still okay. Just intuitively, I'm going to say I think you're still okay after rook f1.
It's true. Still have a lot of threats.
Though before I go too hog wild in that, let's just say rook e5, you are holding your business. Yeah, you are holding your pawn after rook e5. So maybe I don't know. Maybe it really is a really tasty moment here for both sides. I think, black.
King d3 at the end there. I think it's not. Yeah, it's still not too clear.
But it's a pawn. King d3. We have. So you're saying on knight e6. I think.
Yeah, I wanted knight g6.
And then knight c5 check.
Yeah, king c2.
Oh, then I have rook e2 check. That can't be any bueno.
Yeah. Too active, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of feels like white has to go for these concrete lines.
Right, he's putting himself in a position, with knight f4. That rook f1 move was much better, right? Much cleaner than knight d4. Because the knight d4, you can't calculate it. And you got to go for knight d5. and then it's holy moly. Then it's full holy moly after this.
Yeah, still not clear if this is okay for white, because I'm thinking there's also an option to go knight b3 check right away. And then if king c2, we still have rook c8.
Good move. Okay. Let's try that. So knight b3. Now, let's see. King d3 is out. Okay? And king d1, the bummer with king d1 is that, well, the rook is, yeah, everything's just like in no man's land. But let's just assume that king c2,
Yeah, I
rook
guess we get
c8,
this endgame.
king
Yeah.
b3, rook here, knight here. It's still this. It's still exactly like what we did before.
Yeah. White should be holding, I think. Like the knight just like...
Let me just say, I don't know. Yeah, okay, let's just assume. Let's assume that he's going to be holding, yeah. Okay, so Hacker's thinking about it. Interestingly, I feel like this is a moment where this is not a critical decision. You play knight d4, and you make white stew on it, right? Because you don't know if he's going to play rook f1 or knight d5. You play it, buddy. Because then that's just like, you play knight d4 and a guy with a little bit of time left. Oh, buddy, that's a hard one. And black has, then you think, because black is the one after knight d5 who can think about whatever he wants to think about.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like black has any other... Only rook e4 was the option that we thought was okay.
But that was like, I think that was that rook f1 move. It was really powerful there.
Yeah. Or yeah, even just knight h5. Yeah, I think rook g8 also knight takes h5, and white should be at least fine.
Oh, this is really intense. Well, Hacker's giving him the business here, because he's really thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, and let's say it's funny to think about, like, maybe Hacker's around 2300 USCF, and Mitch is around 2000. This is, I guess, kind of what it looks like at this level, right? There's like, what black has made just a few less mistakes than white.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looks like when I play like 2500 GM. I just end up here. It's like slightly worse, kind of, it should be okay, but never quite fully equalizing, and yeah, eventually losing, or sometimes, having like a lucky draw. Because sometimes the tactics just kind of like work out in white's favor, even though black did everything correctly. Like if it turns out that exchange position is like holding for white, it's kind of like, okay, a little bit fortunate for white that kind of worked out. And not much black can do from this point.
He's still tanking on it. Okay, Kostya, I gotta go. I gotta get some water, buddy. I need to hydrate.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Sure. I think this is the longest game we've had on Sunday Night Fights. I don't think we've had a game that's like... No, actually not true. We've had games that have lasted the whole show and continued, but this feels like one of the longest games. Well, I mean, black is thinking about knight takes d4. That's what's going on. Yeah. It's true. And he's trying to calculate what happens in this mess, because he gets the first check, but then white will have knight takes f6. So who knows? Who knows what's happening? Yeah, Go Betty. This is basically a round robin tournament. We're having like an internal tournament within the dojo. This is the Masters group. Yeah, a bunch of Masters playing in the section. Rook e4, Sonny. We were just thinking Knight takes h5, rook takes d4 check, king goes somewhere, maybe king e2, I'm not really sure. And that white just has enough counterplay, especially with the h-pawn just being... Usually this outside pass pawn is so strong in these positions. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the dojo started on Discord. It's a Discord server. Main function is for players to find other players to play training games and discuss chess and stuff. But yeah, we have classes, we do some tournaments, and yeah, it's a fun place. What if you answer knight takes d5 with king d6? Okay, let's check it out. I see. So got this line, here, here, rook f8, rook f1, king e6. Maybe rook f4 there? Hard to say. Do we have action? Yeah, we got knight takes d4 on the board. So I think we should be going down something here. Knight takes d5. It's a big option. But king d3.
King d3 played quickly.
But we didn't like this one because of knight b3.
Yeah, knight b3 followed by knight c5, and it looks poor. He played that one quickly. Yeah, he's playing his critical moves, and he's not thinking on his critical moves.
No, he's probably thinking on black's turn. I mean, of course, as white, knight d4 is like main move we're calculating. But I don't know if it was the right decision. Knight b3 played.
Yeah, there you go. Now white, wow, he's in big trouble now.
That looks difficult. Okay, let's say white goes rook f1.
Mm-hmm. F1. Oh, I did it again. I did it on their board instead of our board. Okay, so no knight d5, but king d3, knight b3, rook f1. In addition to knight c5, black can consider d4. I don't know if it's any good, but it's a thought anyway.
d4.
That's probably no good. d4 is no good. Just knight h5 and you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so knight c5.
Right. King d4.
I think king d4, doesn't that run smack dab into king d6?
Yeah, sorry. I wanted king c2. I don't know why I played king d4.
Wait, but let's just make sure. So king d6, knight h5. What is going on here?
Got rook e4, got knight takes a4.
Well, knight takes a4, there's all kinds of terrible things, like rook f6 happening to me.
Well, I mean, rook e4 check, knight a4 check.
Got you, yeah. Yeah, let's say it's 4. But the king c2 is also suffering after knight c5, right? So it went, hold on. King d3, knight b3, rook f1, check the miserable king. Yeah, it's painful.
Rook d1 played. Okay.
Why is that okay?
No, I see it. He's anticipating black's knight c5 with putting his rook on the d file.
I don't get it. Maybe, okay. So if rook e5, then king c2.
Yeah. He's got this threat.
Okay, at least it's getting down. Black should definitely think for a moment here.
Yeah.
Now let's give him at least props that he's been thinking about that. Am I drinking milk? No, this is my famous lime creation. I just put ice, a little sugar, and some lime juice in there.
Mm.
It's so hot where I am right now. I've been drinking it all day.
Nice. Yeah,
Okay.
rook e5, king c2, and then we want to take on d5.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was making fun of that movement, and maybe it's pretty good.
I think, Mitch has been looking at a lot of Karpov games lately. I think it's very Karpovian. Just going to say it.
He's got me not saying anything. that's a rare occurrence. He's got me shut up. Okay, I have an idea. I'm not sure about this one. Not at all. Let's say rook e4. Oh, excuse me. I did it on the wrong board. Okay, knight c5. Wait a second. Wait, let me make sure here.
Yeah, we got rook d1 on the board.
Right, so after rook d1, oh my god, we're getting lost in variations. So right, rook d1, I'm going to promote that thing. How about rook e4? I'm not 100% on this close.
Take on...
At least gives black or white like a choice of how he wants to do this thing.
How about king c2?
Okay. Okay, knight d4. If I have an advantage here, it's pretty, like, technical.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to mention, on knight h5, I wasn't entirely clear either how this was going to go. Let me just show my variation. I'm not sure it's actually an advantage. So king c3, knight e2 check, snip, 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 here. No, this isn't an advantage. This is nothing. You just take here. White's totally fine.
Yeah.
This is a tough position here. Rook d1 at the very least. Yeah, like putting some question marks.
Yeah.
The dude.
Absolutely. I did like rook f1. I mean, to me, I still don't see why rook f1 was not good, just because it lines up against f6.
But rook f1 wasn't as cool because it really wasn't, because then rook e5.
Yeah.
Right.
That was.
And black was better.
Right.
With rook d1. Now there's rook e5. There's king c2, and then I don't know what I'm doing in life after that.
Yeah. So this was a nice target. Okay, we got king c6. Now, what's black's idea? If white goes king c2, I think he's just giving the pawn, knight c5 or something. I don't see, don't really see another option.
Okay, yes, no, that's pretty good. Okay, king c2, knight c5, and how do you want to take that thing?
Think with the rook.
Oh. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think there's any danger actually here.
Mm-hmm. Rook e3 definitely is a thought.
But rook e3, rook h5.
Yeah.
I don't know, rook
Takes.
g3 or something.
Mhm.
Rook f5, and why is black worse? I mean, why is white worse, rather?
Not at all. H5 coming looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So bravo, Mitch. Fighting back. King c2.
See, dude, Blade, man. Dang, Mitch is bringing it here, dude. King c2. I don't, besides knight c5, I honestly don't know what else the guy's supposed to do.
Quirk says he would be calculating knight takes d5 in that position. Yeah, why? This is so much easier. Knight d5 here also makes a lot of sense. Stops rook e3, but also hits f6. I don't know, might be okay as well.
I like your rook d5 better because this allows knight c rook e2.
Yeah. And then, yeah, knight a4 maybe could be annoying. Okay, rook d5 played. Nice job. Fast.
What? Dang. Okay, knight c5, rook d5 on the board. And Hacker needs to find something special here. I'm not seeing anything special. And once you lose that h5 pawn, it's kind of there's some real counterplay going on.
I think black can make a draw if they want, like with maybe knight e4, and then if like rook h5, knight takes g3, and trying to go knight e2. Maybe it's still slow, like rook h6.
All right, Costa, let me try to play for black. Rook g8. Oh, excuse me, I did it on the wrong board again.
Yeah, rook g8 will go rook h5.
Rook h5 makes sense to me. Rook g3.
And rook f5.
Yeah, rook f5. And knight e4.
We go h5.
Good. I've got nothing. I've got absolutely nothing. I don't know what else to do. Like in this position after rook takes d5.
Yeah, it seems like white is just very comfortable now. If black has something, it's like it's got to be pretty concrete. Okay, how about knight e6? So now we're just trying to hold this black. So I feel like we got to go for the rook endgame. Because in the rook endgame, the h pawn's not as dangerous, right? We just go behind it.
What are you saying though? Like, you really think that? Okay, so you're saying black needs to now mellow it out.
Yeah,
Slow
I
it
think
on
black
down.
needs to make a draw. No, big time. With this past h pawn.
I would say if you wanted to make a draw, probably the easiest is something like rook e2, king takes, knight f4, king e5, knight h5, knight a4.
Oh, rook e2. Oh, I didn't realize this was possible. I see. And yeah, should be okay. We got rook e3 on the board. Yeah, seems like either rook f5 or rook takes h5 are white's options.
Rook takes h5 or
rook f5, I feel.
Rook
no.
f5, yeah. Though there I am picking up stuff like oh yeah, rook f5 too. Yeah, sure. We could kind of, yeah, rook f5 is fine.
Because like, yeah, knight e4, we take on h5, and then if black takes this one, we're going to be taking here with check. So that's a pawn up for white, but I feel like these got to be pretty drawish, right? With such like reduced material after rook takes f6 there. Put it on the analysis board. I was thinking here.
Yeah.
and take.
Something similar is kind of happening here.
Hmm.
He played rook takes h5.
Rook g3.
I think rook f5 was a pretty good notion. Rook g3, and then we're waiting on it. I like your rook f5 better. It just from a practical standpoint. And then rook f5 was played. Let's say the obvious. It's like a cruel world where all of a sudden dude needs to be a little careful. What a cruel world. What a cruel world.
Definitely.
Okay, let me go ahead and say, how about let's just take this pawn. Yeah, you gotta take that pawn.
Okay, h5.
Ah, Black should be able to find a way to get his home style son self home. Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry. I meant to go
What have
back
you
to the
done? What have you done?
live position. I'll grab it. I'll grab it.
I got it. I got it. What have you done, Ghost? What have you done, buddy? All right, here we go. Boom. Oh, wait a second. Do that right. Boom. Okay, let's see what's going on. Rook f5 on the board, and they're now equal times, my friends. We're both around 5 minutes.
Yep.
And Black, to his horror, needs to start thinking about how to draw this game. And my intuition is knight a4 he should still hold. But you know, that h pawn, it's a source of nightmares, and the knight on f4 is being a real jerk, covering the squares like g2 and h3.
Yeah, 30
Right.
second increment. It's funny, Lobo Capablanca. Does it really feel like we're in the same room?
He's on the west coast. It's light outside over there. It's dark over here.
Oh yeah. We got daytime. Yeah.
Right, and one reason I think knight a4 is important is not just to snap the pawn, but after rook f6, your king is going to want to have a square to move to.
Okay, king d6. Very interesting.
Okay.
So he's going for the active king. Take king e5. And then for rook f7. Maybe black wants like rook g4 or something.
Rook f7, rook g4. Can I cold shower everybody with h5?
Oof.
All right, let's just make sure. Rook,
Wow.
rook, king, h6. Looks like that's the end. That's the end.
That is painful.
So king d6.
Wow.
His intuition isn't terrible. I mean, it's definitely a thought. And rook f6, king e5 on the board.
Might get this.
We might actually get it, yeah. I think you were right in guessing what the guy's intention is. Rook f7. What else do you want to do? Yeah. Rook f7 played.
Well, I mean, there's no threat on the a-pawn. It could go like knight a4 still as a move.
Okay, but knight a4, h5, and what are we doing over there?
Yeah, that's a very dangerous construction. Pawn goes to h7, knight goes to g6. No, it's starting to look really shaky for black. He's thinking about it.
Oh man, this is a good game. Okay, let's put on our little like drawing hats. How does black try to force a draw here? It's not so easy all of a sudden.
I think you gotta try to trade the knights off. I think like knight e6 or something. I feel like this knight is just holding everything together for white.
Maybe rook g4, h5, rook h4. No, then knight g6. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry. But something like that. I don't know. He's got to find something like that. The knight's being a real jerk with these squares over here.
I mean, he still has time to go rook g1.
Yeah, Sonny K is something like that, exactly. So let's try h5, rook h1.
Yeah, something like this. Like black is still active enough where it seems very difficult for white to make progress.
I don't know. Like even knight d3, I'm not sure I'm not winning that endgame because your king is out to lunch.
It would just come back though, like with king d6, like knight d3, take, rook h5.
Good, yeah. You're probably right. I'm really close. Like I want to play king c4. And I'm close, but then I'm thinking you get a check, king b5, some kind of a6 check. Even there, I'm close. I'm real close.
Yeah.
That's real dangerous. And knight d3 was just kind of a weenie move. They might be able to find something else. Okay, we got rook f7 played. Dude is down at 2.5 minutes. It's getting exciting, my friends. Woo! This is our position on the board. Oh man, I think Sonny K with rook g1, something like that. I'm wondering about rook f3 in order to play rook f2. The bummer with rook f3 is you've got to really wonder about knight g6 Chekhovich, right?
Yeah, super dangerous.
Knight g6 Chekhovich.
We got rook g4 on the board. I think he might have noticed h5 is possible, but it's just like, I don't got another move. So he's kind of testing Mitch here.
Oh, I think that's a bad test. I think Sonny's move might have, because on h5 you don't have any move to the h file, my friend. There's no move to the h file. What are you gonna do?
h5, can we still bail with knight e6?
Let's look. Knight e6. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say knight takes, king takes, rook takes a7. I'm gonna say good night. Game over.
Oh, rook a6 is a bummer. Yeah, that's not good.
Oh, Mitch is thinking about it, buddy. Man, oh man. It's getting exciting. I'm glad. I have to admit, I was thinking, like, it's late here. I'm almost ready to go to bed. I'm glad I didn't go to bed. This is this is now we're ready to see if Mitch finds h5. It seems like a brutalizer to me.
Knight d3 played. Bummer.
Oh, instead of h5, really?
Yeah, he missed it. But that was a tough one. I mean, that's you either see it or you don't. The black have a draw after h5, knight e6 with a rook sack or knight sack.
Okay, but black just did something kind of controversial. Black did something a little controversial here. He took on a4.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, we're not getting the pawn yet on h5
So
here.
instead of h5, dude played knight d3, snip, snip, rook h4 feels correct to me. He played rook a4, h5. I'm going to promote this variation.
Well, rook takes h4, rook takes a7. I mean, yeah, should be drawish, but at least white has the extra pawn. Here we got rook takes a4, h5, and draw agreed.
What? Wait, what?
Well, do you think this is dangerous? Black just gets behind the pawn, right? Rook h4.
All right, let me just make sure. You're probably right. Rook h4, rook a7, rook h5. Yeah, you're right. Okay, over. Oh, Mitch, dude, you had it, bro. You had your chance.
Yeah, it was very close at the end there.
Oh, man. Oh.
Interesting game. Very tense.
Well, guys, I'm gonna tweet that. I'm gonna just tweet my congratulations to dude. It was a fun game. I think it's. I want to say it like as just a fan. I think it's cool when somebody like Mitch. He's really like he hasn't played any strong players really like ever in his life. He told me he's never even played like an IM. So this is like he's starting from scratch, man. It's really amazing.
Yeah, no, he's really crushing it. But all right, Jesse, I gotta get going.
Me too.
Thanks,
all right,
guys,
everybody.
for tuning
Thank
in.
you, everybody. Bye-bye.